And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internet, all over social media, all over everywhere. Where do we start? We got to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. This case has been crazy. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of emotion, a lot of ridiculousness from the prosecution. We're going to get into all that because there's a whole lot going on that we got to really unpack, as the cool kids say. And also, what we got? NASCAR trying to eliminate the whole "let's go Brandon." I'm not sure how they're going to do that because it's organic. How are you going to stop an organic thing? You really can't. But we'll talk about that, of course. And what else? Oh, of course, we got to talk about YouTube trying to hide the dislike counter. You can still dislike videos, apparently, but they're going to hide the number of dislikes. Now, they say, oh, it's because you want to protect the small guy. You want to protect the little guy. Is that the reason, or do they want to protect the big guy? We'll talk about that. There's a whole lot more things going on we're going to get into. I think this one guy was on a hunger strike because of voting rights. I may do a video about that at a later time, but we might talk about that tonight. But of course, the main topic we got to get into, I'm going to need some time and space for that. So y'all just hang tight, and we're going to go rocking and rolling on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all yet again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. I saw some fighting in between the mods and some people that are, no, if you're a mod, don't try to fight somebody by deleting a comment when it's not something that's against me. If it's against you, then that's your problem. Don't try to use your power to fight it on the channel. I don't want to say that no more, and I'm not going to say it no more. Anyway, I'll keep on moving. Thank y'all for joining. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. If you like what you heard so far, give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And let's go, Brandon. Shout out to the Brandon administration for completely falling apart. Shout out to your man, Biden, farting everywhere, super loud, long farts in front of foreign dignitaries and stuff like that overseas. Oh, here's a question for you guys. Where's Gavin? Where's Gavin Newsom at? Have you seen him? I think there was a sighting of him at a wedding where Nancy Pelosi was. And you know what? I think I'm going to start right there. I almost forgot about that one, about your man, Gavin Newsom, not being seen in the past, 2 weeks. Now, Gavin Newsom, apparently, before I get to Gavin Newsom, I got to talk about my sponsors. I kind of got off my square a little bit from trying to, play dad in the chat. But shout out to my sponsors, of course. Shout out to me, my sponsor, ABLmerch.com. I got brand new merch on the site. Matter of fact, this is perfect time to get into that. I got brand new merch on the site, okay? I got new variations. A lot of you guys were asking for different colors of particular items. You asking for hoodies and beanies and whatnot. So I put a few things up. And of course, like I said, if you keep tuning in to ABL merch, just check on there every now and again. I'll put some new merch up. I'm going to show you guys some of the new shirts that I have on the site. And matter of fact, let's do it this way so we can be a little bit more efficient. There we go. So I got the, think while it's still legal shirt. That's still there. That's the original shirt that Rihanna was wearing. Remember that? So that's still available. But the way I had it at first, it was only available in the white colors, right? And I know that's racist or whatever. And I got a few more here. Those have been there for a while. But then I got some Let's Go Brandons. You guys have been asking me for it. And it's kind of hard to see, but I got like the checkered flag kind of design behind it, light, real straight to the point. And this is available in, I got black, red, midnight navy, heather royal, dark gray heather, like an army green, asphalt gray, a little bit of everything. And then I have, this is one of my favorites, the Novak shirt. As you can see, it's real simple. Just the word no, N-O, but It's like the needle right there in the center of the node with the whatever kind of drip you want to call that, whether there's water, saline, blood, the vax, whatever it is, just know. And it could also be a double meaning, like you're not going to be using drugs, you're not going to be banging no needles, not shooting no heroin or nothing like that. And I got that available in hats, hoodies, and beanie as well. But different colors, you got black, navy, red, army, steel blue, etc. A lot of different sizes. So you can usually get it in small to 5XL, depending upon the color. So yeah, that's available. And also we got the Think While It's Still Legal shirts in the white logo. So you can have the different colors, right? You got black, navy, red, dark gray, heather, army. So a few different colors and different sizes. All that's on the website. And then, of course, let me go back home. And, of course, it is me right there wearing the 1776, the black one. And is that my same shirt I got on right now? I think it is, just in a different light. And you're going to try to get some more of these in stock. But let me go to, you got the I Digress. You got different flags, police, fire, regular American flag. Of course, we got to keep America great. Let's go Brandon hats. All right, we got these. And we also have the No Vax, the Stretch Dad hat, and No Vax regular trucker in different colors. So, like I said, we got beanies. Oh, here's the beanies before I move on. So, you got all these right here. The I Survived the Pandemic beanies and the No 1776. We got all that good stuff. So, again, that's ablmerch.com. Check it out whenever you guys get a chance. And, of course, anthonyblogan.com, where you can get all of my articles that I write. So, for every video that I produce, I write an article for it, usually, if I got time. And in that article, I have sources. So nobody can say, oh, ABL, you just made that up. That's a right-wing conspiracy theory. You just talking. I never do that. I always have sources from a variety of places, whether that be right-wing, left-wing, independent, non-political, local news, national news, international news, whatever. I always source what I say with various sources from all over the place. So you're able to come to the proper conclusion, even if you don't necessarily have to watch my video. I'll give you all the tools to be able to research it for yourself. Again, that's anthonyblogan.com, ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. And of course, you got BHEdesigns.com. They make these beautiful handmade wooden flags that are right behind me. You can get ones just like those, identical to those, or one of your very own over on BHEdesigns.com. And all my links will be in the description box below. And of course, we got to go to patriotpost.us. You're talking about news, information, all that good stuff. They're a great source of news and information. Okay. So this is patriotpost.us right here. Great website. 25 years defending liberty. That's right. Right out here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Really good guys. I met them. Really strong team. Really smart guys. So, you got a lot of stuff right here. So you can make this like your homepage. You can have a dual homepage, anthonyblogan.com and patriotpost.us. Okay. And this face right here from the prosecutor in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, I mean, it's 1,000 words, ain't it? And I promise we'll get into the Kyle Rittenhouse case in just a moment. But I think I want to start first with Gavin Newsom. Here's a question I have for you guys. Where is Gavin? We know that he had the booster. I think it was on television. Well, they say he got the booster on television. That's the word, right? Because you never know what people are getting. They say, okay, just like with Joe Biden, oh, he's at the White House getting the booster. But then we find out he was not at the White House. He was at a replica of the White House across the street from the White House. For what reason, I don't really know. But they say he got the booster. How do we know that he got the booster? They could have got that man a shot of Kool-Aid. How do we know what's really going on? It could have been anything in that needle, but I will digress. The whole point is that they say they gave Gavin the booster after he had his first vax with the Johnson & Johnson. I'm not sure what the booster was. Might have been Pfizer, Moderna, or whatever it is, right? So he got the first one, then got the booster, and now we've not seen him. Except for there was a slight sighting of him at a wedding where Nancy Pelosi was at. And by the way, that wedding was crazy because, okay, here you have Nancy Pelosi talking about um, having kids required to wear masks in school. Now they're trying to get kids to get the vax, like little kids, 5, 6 years old. They're trying to force them to get the vax. You got parents posting themselves with their kids, tricking their kids into getting it. Kids are crying and everything else. It's a whole big mess. But anyway, so now you have Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom going to this wedding, but your kids, what about them? Oh, well, they got to be in school with a face diaper on for the entire day. And it's like, why? What's the purpose? It's not going to do anything to help. But people don't really care. They feel like, they're doing the right thing. They think that this is okay, that they know better. They're fully vaxxed, and it's all good. Even though the original purpose of the vax was to prevent from wearing the mask, and then they did a bait and switch. They let you do that for a while, depending upon where you live. Where I live in a free state. I don't live in a slave state. And if you live in a slave state, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to attack you. I'm attacking your state, your state leadership. If you're living in California, I'm attacking your Gavin Newsoms, your Nancy Pelosi's, etc. But I digress. The point is that I don't live in a place where I'm required to wear a mask or get the vax. I can do whatever I want to do. It's all good. And contrary to popular belief that they try to spin it in the media, there's no surge of the virus here. Everything's all good. It's no different here than it is anywhere else. It's fine. But so Pelosi was at a wedding with Gavin, and matter of fact, here's a video. I think it might have been at the same wedding, and you had what appears to be Chucky Boy there. And if it was not that same wedding, then matter of fact, I'm gonna check this just to make sure that it was. Just give me a moment. I'm definitely gonna check on that. If it wasn't the same wedding, then it really doesn't quite matter because it's the same type of energy, right? Chuck Schumer, all these people pretty much do whatever they want. Now, let's go. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's check it out. This is your man Chucky Boy cutting the rug. All right, no sound because I ain't trying to have the music play and then have me get striked or whatever. But yeah, my man's dancing. You know what I mean? He chilling, right? No mask, no distancing. Ain't nobody had no mask on. It's all good. They having a good old time, right? A good old time. But your kids got to be separated, mask, depending upon where you live. Again, where I live, that's not the case, really. Not for real. I think it's optional where I live. And shout out to everybody where I live and in the entire state of Tennessee and all over the country that have been fighting for that right. That have been fighting to do the things that people like Chuck Schumer and Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi are able to do with no problem. And, it's all good for them, but not for us. Rules for thee, but never for me. That's their motto. Anyway. So Gavin went to the wedding. Nancy was there as well, but we've not really seen Gavin. And word on the street, rumor has it that he had an adverse reaction to his vax. Now, they're saying it could have been Guillain-Barré syndrome, aka GBS, also potentially known as Bell's palsy. Now, some are going to say that Guillain-Barré is different than Bell's palsy, but at the same time, it's not. If you look up the question, is Guillain-Barré the same as Bell's palsy? The answers are kind of range, but generally it's like two ends of the same spectrum. Basically, isolated paralysis. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. It can be temporary or it can be permanent. Just like my man that played, what's that, the Mountain or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The big Icelandic dude, Thor Thorson, whatever his name is. You know what I'm talking about. You may hear somebody say Guillain-Barré or Bell's palsy. I think at the end of the day, they're describing the same symptoms, facial paralysis. So if Gavin Newsom has Bell's palsy or like total body Guillain-Barré, how's he going to go out there and speak on a lectern like that? He was supposed to go to the COP26, that climate change grift they have overseas or whatever it is. Everybody's flying a private jet to go to the thing. How much carbon does that shoot into the atmosphere? But anyway, he was supposed to go to that and speak for a brief period of time, but he canceled talking about, I got family issues. Really? Family issues? Come on, sir. You've been in office for quite a long time. Everybody has families. Everybody got wives and kids and whatnot. Really? You're going to miss COP26 for that? I mean, just stop playing games, sir. The reason why you didn't go is because your face is probably looking like Two-Face from Batman, Harvey Dent. All right? Your jank is just chopped and screwed because you got injured. And if you have Guillain-Barré or Bell's palsy, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm talking about Gavin Newsom, right? Now, if he was to come out there like that, people are going to say, hey, I don't want to get what he got. Look at his face. He does not look right. He looks kind of ill to me. So maybe I don't want to get that. So maybe the strategy is if he has Bell's palsy or Guillain-Barré, keep him in the cut for a while. Just, keep him more nice. Don't let him go outside too much so it can resolve itself, because Bell's palsy is often temporary. It'll last for a while and then you'll regain your facial function, but it might not. It might not. So how long can it keep this man hidden? Has he been out? Has he been outside since he was, on a milk carton, basically? I'm not really sure. I don't think so. I think maybe for the wedding. And in the wedding, he was kind of far away, had a mask on. So, what's really going on? That is the question. But we're going to see. And here is a picture of the wedding that I was referring to with Nancy Pelosi, all these people. Matter of fact, it's not really a good picture. It just shows the one angle of it where you're not seeing the whole crowd. But honestly, if he had some kind of problem, he could not be out there in the public like that. Okay. Same thing with all these other people like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Remember when Kamala Harris got exposed, all those Democrats who fled the state because they didn't want to vote on the voting rights thing and stuff like that? Well, she was exposed to the virus right after they came, and then she had a quote-unquote routine visit to Walter Reed Hospital right at the same time. It's like, really? So you want me to believe that right after this busload of Democrats who all had the virus, who are all been exposed to it, come in direct contact with you in a small space with no mask or nothing like that, you just happen to go to the hospital randomly out the blue, but it was a routine visit. Let's stop playing games. They probably threw everything at her. Take this IVM, take this HCQ, monoclonal antibodies, vitamin A, B, C, D, E, element P, LGBTQ. Take all them vitamins and you'll be back to normal. That's probably what happened. But they tell you a different story. Oh, it was a routine thing. Gavin Newsom, oh, he's just spending time with his family. I don't believe anything they say anymore. I don't know about y'all, but I don't believe anything. And more often than not, what we say is usually the reality, and what they say winds up being false. Now, here's the wedding that I was referring to here. All right, so here's the wedding I was talking about. So, everybody's chilling, everybody's having a good time, all that good stuff, right? Nobody's wearing any masks. Nobody's doing any kind of distancing. It's all good. Okay. It's all good. Now that right there, you see where my mouse pointer is on the right-hand side of the picture? That is supposed to be Gavin Newsom. I think that's who that is. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed, but that might be him. And I think behind him is London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco. But I'm not sure if that's them or not. But we think that's them. Either way it goes, you can't really see him. And he has a mask on. So the mask is going to cover any kind of imperfection. So we'll see. We're definitely going to see what's happening. Some people have masks, some people don't. It's just kind of like optional. Wear a mask if you want to. It's funny how the elites operate. They can wear masks if they want, don't wear masks if they want, get the vax if they want, don't get the vax if they don't. But regular normies, you got to just do whatever they say. They don't have any kind of consistent thing that they follow, but they want you to follow a consistent thing. It's funny how that works. But yeah. But there's going to be a lot more injuries, in my opinion, because now they're trying to give the vax to kids. And there's already been problems with myocarditis in these young boys, these teenage boys. So if you're giving the vax to little boys, there's going to be more of a problem with that. all these athletes falling all over the place. And this shouldn't be a political thing, but it became a political thing. And it's funny, speaking about politics, how a lot of the left in the beginning, what did they say? Well, I don't want that because that's the Trump vax. I don't want that. But then when Biden got in office, they all said, yeah, I want that. The same thing that Trump had did Operation Warp Speed to put on the table, then they all want it. And then they abused it. If Trump were in office, I think that he would say this is an optional thing. And if you want it, go get it. But if you don't, then don't. But now it's been made to be like the scarlet letter. If you don't have it, they want to try to brand you as being some kind of dangerous person or a leper or something like that. But if Trump were in office, it wouldn't be that way. The same companies that are fighting to, well, that's not companies, pardon me, the same people that are fighting for you, that are fighting to try and make you take it, will be fighting to prevent from taking it themselves. That's what would happen. It wouldn't be this whole mass inoculation, just hysteria. It wouldn't be that way, but that's where we're at nowadays. Everything's political, even when it shouldn't be. So yeah, shout out to whoever got married. They had Earth, Wind, and Fire performing. Somebody named Anya Taylor-Joy was on the dance floor. Okay, so the person that got married is Ivy Getty, and I have no idea who that is. If you guys know who Ivy Getty is, y'all let me know in the comments, but apparently that's her. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I thought that was a whole big hat on her head, this little column right here, but that's not. That's just part of the architecture. But I have no idea who that is. I mean, what is this? I'm watching like Hunger Games, some kind of vampire movie. What's going on with my man? Are you dead, sir? Where's your color at? But I move on. So yeah, that's what's happening with that. But we got a whole lot more going on. I'm going to get to the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Y'all just hang tight on that. I promise I'm going to get to it. I got all kind of clips and whatnot saved, ready to rock and roll just for that purpose. So y'all hang tight. We will get to it. And let's get to the next one. But before I do, y'all go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And also, this will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. Link for that will be in the description box. I put the audio version up right around 8 a.m. the next day. So check back here, 8 a.m. tomorrow. It'll be live and ready to go. And if you're listening to me on those audio streaming platforms, please give me a 5-star rating, a review, whatever you can. I most certainly appreciate it. Cindy says she's the great granddaughter to J. Paul Getty and the Getty Oil Empire. Oh, okay, I see. Got it, J. Paul Getty. So yeah, shout out to all the elites, the elite families, you know, getting married, doing whatever they want to do. Vax, no vax, mask, no mask. Must be nice. It must be nice, right? And so let's get to the whole NASCAR thing. Now, NASCAR, what they want to do, well, the president of NASCAR wants to try and distance himself away from the "Let's Go Brandon" chant, right? They want to try to say, oh, well, we don't want to be so political. We want to have everything be, you know, just kind of neutral, I suppose. But my question is, how are you really going to be neutral here, sir, when you have done other things that are not neutral? You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, so the NASCAR president is Steve Phelps. He says it's an unfortunate situation. He says he feels bad for Brandon, the guy who won, and he also feels bad for Kelly. Because remember the whole situation, what happened. The guy, Brandon, I forget his last name. You guys have watched NASCAR or have more info than me, you would know. But the man, Brandon, won his race, and he got a post-race interview by the reporter named Kelly, young lady. And a lot of the fans were audible in the background, chanting. And they were chanting F Joe Biden, saying the full four-letter word, right? F Joe Biden over and over. And maybe she was just trying to hide that fact, or maybe she couldn't hear it from where she was on the actual raceway. I don't know what was going on. I think she might have been trying to hide it, but I can't really say that for certain. Anyway, the crowd is chanting F Joe Biden, but she heard the chant, she heard the chant and stopped to try and hear it. He didn't say anything, so there was a pause as far as the commentary between her and Brandon, and there was nobody else talking except for the crowd, and you heard it clear as day, F Joe Biden, but she said, let's go Brandon, like that's what they said. So ever since then, the Let's Go Brandon chant has been very popular at NASCAR races, at basketball games, football games, hockey, tennis, lacrosse, whatever you playing. If you speed skating, roller derby, whatever it is, Let's Go Brandon is the chant. And the political rally, whatever it is, Let's Go Brandon. They got hats, t-shirts. They got a whole merch empire based off Let's Go Brandon. And a lot of guys, shout out to my man, my guys, the Hodge twins, they had their shirts first with the NASCAR kind of inspired design. So that took off. That really took off. You saw the shirts everywhere, all kind of designs that were similar to theirs everywhere. And when that happened, it really took off. It really just kind of blew up even more. And so the NASCAR president is like, well, we got to get rid of all the unlicensed and unverified merch that has any of our trademarks on it. So basically what they want to do is try to attack guys like Hodge Twins and everybody else that may have NASCAR inspired merch, or if the merch has any kind of NASCAR trademark on it, then they want to go after them. They want to try to attack them legally for the merch because they can't do anything else. They can put out a statement talking about they don't want that to be linked to them because it's too political, all this and that, but they can't really stop the chant. They might be able to get some money or do like cease and desist as far as their merch, but they can't stop it. And quite frankly, as I was saying in my video, when they say things like this, it just makes the chant grow more. Now it's like, oh, you trying to stop me? You trying to make me not say let's go Brandon? How about I say let's go Brandon some more? That's what's going to happen. And this whole thing about not trying to be political, I mean, come on. We saw Juicy Smouye. I mean, not Juicy Smouye, Bubba Smouye, a.k.a. Bubba Wallace. And the reason why I call him Bubba Smouye is because of the whole garage pool incident. Remember that? So Bubba Wallace was at Talladega Speedway, NASCAR Raceway, obviously, or NASCAR race. And he said in his car stall, there was a noose. Somebody hung a noose in there to try and attack him because he's black, biracial. But anyway, black enough, I suppose, right? 50% or less. But the federales came down there. It was a whole big thing. I feel like if they sent the federales that came to rescue Bubba Smouye down to the southern border, they could solve that crisis in 45 minutes. You understand what I'm saying? It'd be a wrap as soon as they get down there. But anyway, I digress. The whole point is that the federales came down there. It was this whole big PR thing talking about racism, and we got to find it. There was all kind of op-eds written by the mainstream media, TV specials, all kind of stuff. And really, unfortunately, it kind of had a Kim Kardashian effect. It kind of propelled them to stardom. Something that should not propel to stardom did. That's exactly what happened, because before that incident, Bubba Wallace was a okay driver, I suppose, but he wasn't a guy you really knew. After that, he got signed by the Jordan team and he became more popular, and they started to feature him more in advertisements. And then, speaking about not trying to be political, they gave him, or they allowed him to have this car. And let's put it on the screen right quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about before I say it, if you didn't watch the video. So here we go. This is him, Bubba Smouye, a.k.a. Bubba Wallace, with a Black Lives Matter emblazoned car. Okay, and that, like, it driving in NASCAR. I ain't talking about like his personal vehicle at the house, going to Costco and, you know, Wally World and stuff like that. I'm talking about this is a race car on the track. I'm not really sure where he is as far as a particular racetrack, but he's at a track. I see the stands in the background and whatnot. He's at a racetrack, and it's an all black car. For those who can't see it, it's all black color wise. It has the hashtag, literally with the hashtag symbol behind it, Black Lives Matter. It has a peace sign with all the different colored hands making the peace symbol inside the peace symbol. And he has on a shirt that says, I can't breathe, and Black Lives Matter up under I can't breathe. So NASCAR, you telling me you don't want to get political, but how much more political can you get than this? This is political. I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, Black Lives Matter is not a political statement. Yes, Black Lives Matter is a very political statement. I can't breathe. All this stuff is very political because it goes back to this whole thing of policy that's been made off of this. The Black Lives Matter riots caused the whole defunding the police movement and a big increase in crime, and it caused a lot of negative things and things that were politically motivated. A lot of political funding. And you know what? The way that I can say that this is very political is that if you donate to Black Lives Matter, it goes to Act Blue. You go to the Black Lives Matter website and you donate to Black Lives Matter, the same hashtag is on this man's car. If you donate to Black Lives Matter, it goes through Act Blue. Act Blue is very political. All the Democratic Party donations come through Act Blue, okay? And Act Blue takes a piece of the money because they're a payment processor. Out of the money that they make from processing payments, they also donate to leftist people, okay? That's what's going on. BLM is a political party in itself. I mean, if I couldn't tell, Bubba Wallace, a.k.a. Bubba Smouye, is being sponsored by Black Lives Matter. I mean, he may as well have Democratic National Committee right on his car. Same thing to me. If it's not, then I can't tell. Black Lives Matter is the enforcement arm of the Democratic Party. Well, I put it to you like this. Antifa are the enforcement arm. And some of the BLM goons, they're the enforcement arm, but I think BLM is a fundraising arm of the Democratic Party. What did they raise? Like $10 billion after George Floyd? Matter of fact, hold on, let me try to find that right quick. They're a fundraiser. You know, they go out there and do some crime, but that's more of an Antifa, you know, these recreational crack smokers on the weekend in Seattle, Washington. That's what they do. They go out there and tear stuff up. But let me see how much money Black Lives Matter raised after George Floyd. Okay, hold on here. 10 billion raised after George Floyd. Oh, and also, aside from what they raised with George Floyd, just in straight donations, U.S. companies pledged $50 billion to Black Lives Matter and BLM type organizations. Okay. So if that's not political, then I don't know who it is. I can't really, hold on. Let me put it up right here. If this ain't political, if that's not political, then I mean, what's really going on? Okay. That's really what's happening. It's all about trying to get that bag, as a cool kid say. All about trying to get that bag. They had Black Lives Matter pointing, like they had Black Lives Matter. You see the way it is right here on this street. I'm not really sure where that is. It's kind of bootleg. It's looking like yellow tape, like somebody got murdered right there. But anyway, they had Black Lives Matter written on the street that pointed straight to the White House. They had it right there on 16th Street in D.C., pointing to the White House when Trump was in there. Okay, and then once he left, I think they got rid of it, or they had it gone for a while. And then they also did Black Lives Matter right in front of Trump Tower in New York City. So yes, it is political. But NASCAR, I think the reason why they don't want to have the Let's Go Brandon chant is because they think that it insults Joe Biden. And it does. And that's fine. It should be fine. But it's not just about Joe Biden at this point. It's about the media lying, because it appears like the young lady was trying to cover for the Brandon administration when it was clear that from our end, not being on the raceway, just being at home, I guess you would say Monday morning quarterback, it was clear to us that the crowd were saying F Joe Biden. But when she said, let's go Brandon, it's like, okay, I mean, are we going to continue to be lied to and gaslit and stuff like that? So we're going to say, let's go Brandon against the media. We're going to say, let's go Brandon against the Brandon administration. We'll use it for that. And it's also family friendly, because a guy like me, it works perfect. I don't curse. I don't use any kind of foul language. So rather than saying F Joe Biden, I can say, let's go Brandon. You know, little kids can say it. You can say it in church and stuff like that. It works all the way around. It's like watching a G movie versus a rated R movie. It's great for the whole thing, right? An innocent, wholesome phrase rather than something that's a little bit more crude and you got to have adults say it. So anyway, I think NASCAR does not want to get on the bad side of the federales because maybe they see how the federales operate lately. They just do stuff and don't worry about the law. I saw something today that kind of scared me a little bit from a normie, not from the federales, because they don't really surprise me. I kind of know what to expect from them. I think we have a chance of being able to fight back against it with the way we operate in the country. But the people, the average person's viewpoint is scary. Now, I think there was an injunction or something like that that prevented Biden's vax mandate from going through, the federal mandate with OSHA and whatnot. I think a judge had blocked it. I'm not quite sure if the block is still there, but the judge had blocked it. And then somebody was saying that in one of these threads, might have been Twitter or somewhere. And then the person said, so what? We don't care what the courts say. We don't care what laws say. We're going to do whatever we want to do coming from the federal government. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't just say you can't just say the president is a king and can just do whatever he wants to do. There's checks and balances. You have federal courts. You got the House, the Senate. You got all these checks and balances because the president is not a king. He can't just do a thing willy-nilly without having it go through the proper channels. You just can't do that. You can't just say the courts don't matter and laws don't matter. If you say something like that, then that tells me that you are in favor of totalitarianism, communism. That's what's going on right now. People talking about critical race theory, and that's a very important thing to mention, but CRT is the tip of the iceberg, literally. It's tip of the iceberg, and below that is obviously the monster of Marxism. It's the monster of Marxism, and I think a lot of people have been engulfed by Marxism, and they are embracing that as just the way it's supposed to be. And that's scary. Matter of fact, here's a meme that shows it. How did I respond? I was like, you know what? That's not how that works. You got laws on the books. You can't just do whatever you want to do. But here is the meme I want to. This is perfect right here. When we're talking about CRT, we're not only referring to just the specific definition of CRT. That's how a lot of these weirdos on the internets and on television, your Mark Lamont Hills, people like that. Oh, they don't teach CRT. It's only in law school. Blah, 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 blah. We talking about drag queen story time being in school. We talking about kids being assaulted in the bathroom by boys who claim they're transgender and they're able to use the same bathroom as them. We talking about little kids being separated by race. We're talking about little kids being admonished by race, told that they are either the villain or the victim. We're talking about all these things that are being taught to little kids with a very impressionable mind. So when they go home to their mommy and daddy, they're going to be crying, talking about, hey, you know what? I'm in kindergarten and I saw a transgender reveal. One of my classmates is 5 years old, went into the bathroom as a boy and came out as a girl. That's what we're talking about. And all of that is Marxism. It's going to lead to just trying to shape and mold kids, brainwash them at an early age. So when they grow up, they're just kind of fall in line. They'll fall in line, get them on drugs, get them all these shots and stuff like that. That's what's happening right here. And that's why parents, even in a very, very liberal area like Northern Virginia, understand how important that whole Virginia race was. Loudoun County, Fairfax is I'm talking about, it's probably more liberal than San Fran Bay Area. I would say if it's not more than that, it's close to it. It's not as degenerate as San. You know what? I take that back. It's not quite that liberal. You could pretty much just shoot heroin out in the open in the daytime in San Francisco, right? You can be in the police station and get geeked up. Matter of fact, I saw this billboard that was in San Fran. This is going to kind of bring it on home. And this billboard, I got to find it. I've never seen anything like this in D.C., Northern Virginia, Maryland, or Virginia, anywhere. Never seen anything like this billboard, but I'm going to put it on the screen and then I'm going to describe it. And I'm going to find it. Y'all give me a moment. And while I'm finding this crazy billboard, y'all please give the video a thumbs up if you have not done so already. And we will get to the Rittenhouse case in just a moment, but I gotta find this billboard for y'all. But the point is, what I'm saying is that I don't think we are quite, we're not quite there as far as like Virginia, that area. We're not quite that bad yet. It can get that bad, but I'm not sure if it is. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm going to find this billboard, I promise. And this is in San Fran. I can't find it right now, but the billboard, I'll describe it to you best way, because if you are listening to this without the audio, without the video, you can't see the billboard anyway. But the billboard was of a bunch of people that looked like they might have been LGBT, people of color, and it was saying something along the lines of, do it together, don't be apart. And underneath that, they were talking about Narcan. Basically, what they were saying is, hey, if you're going to shoot heroin, shoot heroin in a group of people. So if somebody messes around and dies or ODs, you could call help for them. It was a billboard. It was a PSA. Now, I mean, if you got something like that going on, first of all, I don't appreciate this whole thing about black and browns being the people that are in there. You know what? I think this whole thing about black and brown folks, you're not really trying to appeal to black and brown folks. You're trying to appeal to a lot of these white liberals that feel bad about black and brown folks. It's like you could point the finger at them and be like, hey, they're doing badly. Therefore, I feel good about myself. I'm doing better than them. I'm doing better than they are. That's kind of the vibe I get from a lot of the white liberals that feel so much in the heart towards these black causes, right? But see, in reality, if you are shooting heroin, you're not doing better than anybody. You about to die any day. With all this fentanyl going on, you are one bag away from your deathbed. You about to be cold in the morgue somewhere. So, but that's how they do, though. That's the marketing campaign. That's the marketing strategy behind heroin. It's crazy, but that's the way it is. So it's not quite that bad in DC. It could get that bad, but no, it's not. It's not quite that bad. It's not really there. But anything can happen. And I'm gonna move right along from that. And if I can find that billboard while I'm talking in the live, I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, it's totally crazy. Now, let's get to my man, Kyle Rittenhouse. Shout out to my man, Kyle Rittenhouse, first of all. Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. Kyle Rittenhouse obviously, just engaged in self-defense. Clearly. Nobody can sit there and tell me anything else. I want somebody to try and convince me that what Kyle Rittenhouse did was anything else other than self-defense. I get to the phone calls in probably about a half hour or so, but somebody please tell me, how was it anything other than self-defense? We know the story briefly before I get into the update from today. The story was Kyle Rittenhouse, 17 years old. He lived in Antioch, Illinois, and he went to Kenosha. Now, people talking about this whole thing about crossing state lines. I'm going to address that right quick. I said it before in a previous video, I think, but crossing state lines, really, Kenosha is right across the border from Illinois, and Antioch is literally right on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. So from Kyle Rittenhouse's mom's house to Kenosha is like 10 to 15 minutes. So we ain't talking about going from California to Georgia or something like that with a trunk full of guns and drugs and whatnot. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about this man went just a short ways away, a very short ways away. And his dad lives in Kenosha. So let's stop with the nonsense talking about he crossed state lines. Just cut it out. Okay, anyway, that area is his community. That's his region. It's that area. He was only out there to render aid to anyone that needed it. Hey, if you need some help, you got injured or something like that, I'm here for you. Now, he had a rifle out there because he had to protect himself from people that were out there acting crazy, because he had seen on social media a lot of businesses that had been burned down, people acting crazy. So he had to protect himself. Obviously, if you're going into a dangerous environment. The prosecutor is, I don't know what type of, I think the prosecutor knows that he does not have a case here, so he's trying to invoke a mistrial because there's nothing else. He has nothing. It's an open and shut self-defense case, in my humble opinion. Okay, maybe they get him on a gun or something like that, but as far as I know, that's not even a charge. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think it's just murder charges and stuff like that, attempt murder, but I'm not sure if the gun is a charge. So, I mean, there's nothing you could really get him on as far as murder or attempt murder or something like that. It's all self-defense. The people that he shot all tried to hurt him. And then here's something I want to say about that. I'm seeing a whole lot of pro-blacks and a lot of these white liberals that are also pro-blacks, like White Panthers, you understand what I'm saying? They're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist, and a lot of white supremacists, they support Kyle Rittenhouse. But what kind of white supremacist shoots only other white people and does not hurt anybody of any other color except for white? How does that make sense? If you're a white supremacist, you're not doing a very good job of preserving the white race. That's not doing a very good job at all. Okay. And then how can anybody defend people that went out there to attack Kyle Rittenhouse? They said he shouldn't have been out there that night in Kenosha. Well, if he shouldn't have been out there and there was a curfew, then why was anybody else out there? Why does anybody that is on the left, why do they say that he shouldn't have been out there and there was a curfew and he shouldn't have had his gun? But everyone else out there that were looting and shooting and thugging and drugging, they're totally fine to be out there tearing stuff up past curfew with their guns. People that shouldn't have had guns because they were felons and were barred from having guns, like the dude that was locked up, convicted of multiple counts of sexually abusing children, who was saying the N-word over and over that night and was recording on videotape. How can the pro-black come to me talking about Rittenhouse is racist when he literally shot a white racist child abuser? Who in their right mind is going to defend that guy that got shot? I mean, for real, Rittenhouse did the world a service. Okay, the guy was aggressive, a violent, dangerous, nasty offender, attacked him. I mean, hey, you pretty much asked for it. And as a matter of fact, he literally, the guy that got shot, the one of them that was abusing the kids, he literally asked for it. So, hey, man, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. But I'll move on. Anyway, so Rittenhouse did nothing wrong, and the prosecutor was not able to convince anyone, in my humble opinion, that he did do something wrong. And it was sad to see, man. I don't really want to play the clip of Rittenhouse crying, but I think most of you guys have seen it. I may upload that as a different one. But I could tell Rittenhouse was having some kind of PTSD. Matter of fact, it was like a panic attack, because earlier in the day when the prosecution was making him basically relive when he got cornered by the people and he had to shoot, he was trying to talk, but he started crying and was trying to stop from crying. And he was breathing really heavy, like really, really heavy, like he just got done running. It was crazy to see. It was crazy. And people talking about, oh, this alligator, crocodile tears, and that's not really real. I mean, I could tell that was real. And it was heartbreaking to see. It really was. You know, and the thing is, he wasn't out there to try and hurt people. He was running away, trying to stop, trying to avoid confrontation, doing all the right things. Because if you have a gun, you're not just trying to be a lawful gun owner. A lawful gun owner is not trying to go out there to try and find people to shoot. They're not trying to start trouble. They're trying to just defend themselves. I'm going to stay away from you. I'm going to avoid confrontation. I'm not going to escalate things, because I saw one case a while ago where it was this guy at his gas station. You guys may remember that story. It was a guy that was trying to provoke people at a gas station so he could shoot them. Now, that's not being responsible. And really, if you do something in that situation, it's probably your fault. If you're trying to antagonize people all in their face and stuff like that, that's not how you go about it. But that's not what Rittenhouse did. Rittenhouse was trying to avoid the situation, trying to avoid confrontation, and not trying to get in anybody's face. He was only there to provide assistance. And as a matter of fact, when Rittenhouse shot, I think, the first guy, he was trying to render him aid. That's usually what happens. Like, if you're a police officer and you shoot somebody, a lot of times you try to give the person aid, but you might not be able to if you're in a dangerous environment. And that's what Rittenhouse was in. There was a mob closing in on him, so he had to leave. It's like, okay, you want to render some aid to this man that just got shot by you, but you can't render him aid, and you're not going to be able to protect yourself if you have, 20 people on you trying to attack you. You're not sure if they're armed or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, Rittenhouse, it did show him as a real person, because the media is so terrible, man. I mean, at a certain point, we need some more laws, because the media, they will attack you and demonize you. And a lot of these soft-brained morons that watch television don't know what's going on. All they know is whatever the media tells them is correct. So if the media say that Rittenhouse is a terrorist and a white supremacist, and he went out there across state lines and tried to kill black people and all this and that, he was violently racist. If they say stuff like that, then they believe him. Just like your aunt on Facebook, who still believes that Trump is the worst thing in the world, who still has a picture of Trump in their profile with his eyes X'd out or something like that. It's like, lady, he's not in office no more. Move on with your life. But that's what media does. They brainwash people that are already kind of pre-brainwashed, which is the point of CRT and Marxism. That's a different story. But anyway, so there's quite a few things here. The trial today was really good because the prosecutor got screamed on by the judge. That was really crazy. I have quite a few videos here. I got to find that one. Y'all hold tight for that. Hold on. Matter of fact, before I get to the judge, here's one of the clips that I liked. This is Rittenhouse talking about, video games aren't real, right? Hold on. Let's check it out. Matter of fact, let's do it this way. Let's do it the better way. Hold on. Let me just zoom in a little bit and we can get it rocking and rolling. Okay, can we get some sound? All right, I think you guys can hear it, but I can't hear it. Let me just make sure that I got my settings right. And okay, let's do it that way.
Isn't one of the things people do in these video games try and kill everyone else with your guns?
Yeah, the video game, it's just a video game, it's not real life.
Isn't one...
Because he was trying to talk about, like, do you play Call of Duty? Do you play a lot of video games? It's like, yeah, but video games aren't real. It's just fantasy. You know that you're struggling to find anything. We talk about my video games. You know that you're struggling because that whole argument has been laid to bed for the past 20 years. Video games not going to cause no mass shooting. You got millions of Call of Duty players all over the world, and they're not out here just shooting and killing people. Okay, so that's just not a thing you can really do. And here's some more of the prosecution just laying the goose egg. Let me put this up right here. Zoom in a little bit. And not that way. Hold on. There we go, that way.
Can you help me understand, Mr. Rittenhouse, why Gage Grosskreutz, with a pistol in his hand, is a threat to kill you, but you, with an AR-15 pointed at him, is not a threat to kill him at this moment? Can you help me understand that?
I've been attacked by several people, and he decided to come and point a gun at my head. Well, first,
He hasn't done that yet, has he?
No.
So again, I ask you, in this moment, you told us Gage Grosskreutz is a threat to you right now.
Yes.
He's got a pistol not aimed at you. You've got an AR-15 aimed at him. Why is he more of a threat to you than you are to him?
Because he was moving at me with a gun in his hand.
This is right after you've killed Anthony Huber, correct?
Yes.
Right after you fired 2 shots at almost point blank range at the man running towards the camera right now and missing him, correct?
Yes.
And you're telling us Gage Grosskreutz is the real threat at this moment?
Yes.
Can we please pull up exhibit number 80? Begin.
And you know what? One thing about it, that's enough right there. One thing about it, the prosecutor kept talking about AR-15, AR-15, AR-15 is because most normies associate AR-15 as like some kind of mass killing machine, some kind of super rifle or something like that, when it's just not really the case. It's just not really the case. You know, AR-15 is just easier to handle with attachments and stuff like that, like a scope or a foregrip. It's not like, you know, some kind of super rifle. I mean, you put a trigger one time, one bullet comes out. All right. That's really what it is. It's not fully automatic or nothing like that. It's just a rifle at the end of the day. But normies, the average normie who does not really like who does not really like conservatives or guns, when they hear AR-15, they think death machine. That's kind of what's going on with that. All right. Oh, and shout out to my man. Shout out to the judge. The judge was great. I'm gonna get to some more of him in a minute, but this is a point in time where his ringtone, where his phone went off, and you can hear his ringtone.
The actions that I had talked about were done in bad faith.
One more time, I was running it back because you didn't catch it.
The actions that I had talked about.
So that's Lee Greenwood's Proud to Be an American. So you already know that's our guy right there. Even if he wasn't our guy, I think everybody knows what's happening here. Like actual law people, lawyers and whatnot, they know what's going on here. It's self-defense. It really ain't nothing to it. The only reason why it's being tried is because it's political. If not for the political nature of it, he wouldn't even be in court, in my humble opinion. He wouldn't even be in court. But because Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, he wouldn't even be in court. Right? That's kind of what's going on with that. And let me see if I can find the judge screams, the judge screaming. Okay, here's some of it right here. This might be most of it.
Why would you think that that made it okay for you, without any advance notice, to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to. Why would you?
I mean, when you got the judge doing that to the prosecutor, it's pretty much a wrap, because you didn't already lost them at that point. After that, really before that, but after that, the judge was kind of short with the prosecutor and not really trying, because now he knows you're trying to run a game. You're trying to get a mistrial or something like that. So now he has very thin patience for you. You're playing games. You're trying to be political. I don't got no time for that, man. You need to do what's right. You're an experienced lawyer. You know what you're doing. Don't come in here acting a fool in my courtroom. So my man got screamed on, and I loved it. So shout out to the judge. It was great to see. But, hey, it tells you how weird this whole thing is. It really does. All right. So, yeah, shout out to my man. That was a really good thing. And I think there's more. Let me see if I can find it. Was that it? I think I got more, though, but I'm going to get to some more. Yeah, now, during these times when the judge is saying stuff like that, the jury, before he says that, the jury is sent to the library or something like that, so they're not going to be out there. They're not going to be out there hearing that. Could they hear it later when they go home and watch the news? Yes, but they're not supposed to be watching the news. They're supposed to be away from all of that, but it's going to be kind of hard to keep that away. So the jury's not really going to be affected necessarily by hearing that in the court. However, I think everybody knows, even without all the screaming and stuff like that, they're hearing the testimony, that they're seeing the prosecutor pretty much go up in flames. They're seeing what's going on with that. So what more can really be done? It's not really a whole lot, right? It's not really a whole lot. And matter of fact, prime example, the dude Gage, gross cuts that had his bicep torn off, basically, when he tried to shoot Kyle Rittenhouse with his gun and got shot with a rifle right in his arm. He came out and said the only reason why he got shot is because he pointed his gun at Kyle Rittenhouse. Matter of fact, here it is. Let's put this on the screen right quick and do it this way. And there we go.
With your arms up in the air, he never fired, right?
Correct.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
So this is where my man from the prosecution face-palmed in court. Face-palmed, watch. It's coming up in a minute. So that's Kyle Rittenhouse got like a little reaction to him. He's just trying to keep cool. And they're going to pan eventually to the prosecution. Do they in this clip? They might not in this clip.
You had...
Look, right there at the end. The face-palm in the court. Now, when that happens, you know it's a wrap. The prosecution is in the courtroom face-palming. Because, okay, for context, this guy, this is like an Antifa member, I suppose. He was out there during the so-called protest. He's the guy that pointed his gun at Kyle Rittenhouse and got shot in his arm, but didn't die. His bicep is pretty much a wrap. That thing's looking like an old chicken wing that had been ate from top to the bottom. But he got on here and said the only reason why he got shot is because he pointed his gun at Kyle Rittenhouse first. So that this is the prosecution star witness. He's the guy supposed to get on stage and say, yeah, he pointed the gun at me. I'm a victim. Send him to jail. All this, that, and the third. But all he really did was help Kyle Rittenhouse. So when that happens, when your star witness does something like that from the prosecution point of view, you're going to get the facepalm. You're going to get the facepalm. Okay. And my man right here, this is the guy from earlier today that got screamed on by the judge. So they pretty much toast. And they know that. They know that, like, if I can see it as a normie, as regular guy at a house, a normie just sitting at the crib, they know they toast. So all they can do is to try and come up with an elaborate scheme to have some kind of mistrial or some kind of trickery. And the judge, he see what's going on. He don't like it. That's why he's screaming. The defense, they know what's going on. When they object, they kind of like exacerbated. It kind of just like, can you get them to stop, please? Stop all the nonsense. This is malarkey. That's what's going on right now with the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So he gonna get off. He's going to get off. And it's just a matter of time at this point. How long is this going to continue on? How long are we going to keep? Is it going to be like the OJ trial? Is it going to be a reality show? Or can we just go ahead and wrap it on up, put the bow on the top? What are we going to do with this whole situation? That's the question at the end of the day. That's pretty much it. So yeah, Sweet Baby Ray's, exactly. Put some barbecue sauce, some tartar sauce on that bicep. Okay, because that thing looking real nasty. And I mean, put it on the air fryer. Put it in the little what they call that? Them Ninja Minis or whatever. Put it on that and get it nice and ready to go. But yeah, Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. He's gonna get freed pretty soon. But we'll see how the whole thing goes. Did I get everything? Oh, let's talk about the last thing, and then I get to the comments. Just briefly, YouTube trying to hide all the comments, pardon me. YouTube trying to hide dislikes. So YouTube says that they're going to begin hiding all the number of dislikes from videos. So for prime example, you'll be able to still vote up, or you'll be able to upvote or downvote every video, but the only thing that'll be visible is the upvote. The downvotes will not be visible by default. So they say this is a thing they're trying to do to protect smaller creators because they're getting dislike bombed and stuff like that. But the reality, from my point of view, is that they're trying to protect the Brandon administration, the Biden administration, because every single video from the Brandon administration, it gets disliked. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, you could have Mother Teresa in there, handing out cookies to kids. It don't matter. Everything they put out is going to be disliked. Why? It's because people don't like the Brandon administration. They don't like his policies. They don't like what he stands for. They don't like what they stand for. So they're going to get downvoted regardless. They don't like that in the Brandon administration. So they may try to block comments or disable comments, disable ratings. But if you do something like that, now you hiding. Don't be a coward. Give me all your full ratings. Give me your comment section. Don't be a coward. I never, ever would disable ratings or remove my comment section. I don't care if I'm getting ratio to high heavens. It doesn't matter. I would never do that because I ain't no coward like that. Oh, I'm getting negative feedback. Nah. Be a man and stand on it. If you say something, stand on it. If you're the president, vice president, senior, whatever, go out there, say what you got to say and stand on it and be ready for the consequence. Be ready for the negative backlash. So this whole thing about trying to protect smaller creators, I don't really buy. And really, quite frankly, it's going to make it harder to find quality content because your time is precious, so is mine. So if I'm on the internet searching for a particular thing, trying to solve a problem, and I come across a bunch of videos and I'm clicking on them to see, okay, what am I going to watch? How long am I going to watch it or whatever to fix my problem? Like, let's say I'm having a computer problem, right? And I can't find the answer on Google, like as far as just reading text. I want to see if there's a video that has my problem in it. Well, some of these videos aren't good. They're outdated. So when that happens, they get a lot of dislikes. But if I go to the video and I can't see the dislikes, now I'm wasting time trying to skim through the video or actually do the prescribed method in the video to see if it works. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And then sometimes the comments aren't there, so you can't really see. So it's just a problem. At the end of the day, it's only to protect the Brandon administration and also people like Fauci. Every video that is related to Anthony Fauci in a positive way, like let's say, for example, there's a Anthony Fauci documentary coming out. That trailer is getting downvoted to smithereens. Anything with him in it talking about, okay, all right, Big Bird, take the vax with us. That's getting downvoted to smithereens. Anything like that is getting a serious downvote. Anything that's a proponent of critical race theory, that's getting a serious downvote, right? I'm gonna show you guys a video. It's not really like vulgar or nothing like that. It's a lady that's like in the bathing suit or some kind of weird thing. But this kind of reminds me of Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? Or Yokozuna. Like if you combine The Rock, Stone Cold, Yokozuna, some of the more the big body people, this is pretty much what you get. And I gotta show you guys this because this kind of stuff is what would get downvoted a lot if it's in school or something like that. Matter of fact, this is perfect. If a video had this in it and they're talking about, hey, this is great for kids, how does that your kids quinceañera or something like that, it's gonna get a lot of downvotes. And let's get some sound right quick. And you guys are going to find this funny. All right. Now, if you couldn't see what was going on, I'm not sure what's happening here. I don't know if this is like a cafeteria, a birthday party, a strip show or something. You got this lady sitting in a chair, like kind of a fragile chair, right? The legs are a little bit too skinny. And this person, I'm not sure if this is a transgender or what, but he's looking like Lawrence Taylor and Emmett Smith with a dread wig on and some thigh high boots. But anyway, they're trying to do some kind of acrobatic move on a lady in a chair. I'm not really sure why, but it goes from trying to be cute and whatnot to this is like a reverse pile driver, a self pile driver. How you gonna pile drive yourself? I don't know, but I see something new every day.
Maybe
So yeah, if something like that is in the video for like an educational thing for youngins, I'm gonna go ahead and downvote that, right? And I think you would want that to be downvoted if that was going on, just maybe. That's what the downvote is for, not just for harassing small YouTubers, all right? So, oh man. So yeah, I'm not sure what was going on with that, but yeah, I don't want to see that in a regular video. Anyway, thank you for being here. Yet again, you guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video the thumbs up. Yeah, that's right. RKO out of nowhere. Okay, the chips and the drinks and the hot dogs and whatnot, they're everywhere. Okay, crab cakes all over the ground. But anyway, you guys are the best audience. Give the video a thumbs up if you like what you're hearing so far. We're going to get to the supers, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Give me a few minutes to get through the supers, and then we get to the calls. And this, of course, this will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform. So if you want to hear this on the repeat and you don't want to spend a lot of bandwidth to do it, you can just listen to the audio only version, and that'll be available on Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. And the link for that will be in the description box below. Let's go to the supers page and let's get rocking and rolling. And today is the 10th. Okay, let's go ahead and get it rolling. Shout out to Apu for a few here who says, hey, ABL, at Doug Ripley wants to know if you put the bow on top of your Christmas gifts. Also, what kind of gift certificates do you want as Christmas gifts? I've not done any Christmas shopping yet. That's a good point, though. I need to, but I've not done that yet. Any kind of like gift card or certificate, a Visa debit card. It don't even really matter for real. It's all good to me. But thank you for that. Apple also says, God bless January 6th, MAGA Patriots in DC jail and Julie Kelly. Also, God bless Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene visit DC jail. Also, Greg Brown said, just to appreciate your efforts and commitment to factual information. Thank you. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you. That's what I try to do all the time, is just give the truth and just present it in my own special way. Thank you to Miles Davis, who says, people blame Travis Scott for not stopping the show when they're the ones who caused the stampede. No accountability from crazy fans. You know what? I've been watching this kind of play out. I'm going to do a reaction. I'm going to do my own take on it because I have quite a few thoughts I could put into a video. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. I don't think it's really Travis Scott's fault for that, you know, because, I mean, is he the guy that's in charge of crowd control and security and stuff like that? I think the problem was the venue did not have proper security, did not have the problems with whoever was running the show. He's just there performing. I'm not really sure how it's his fault. Now, people could say that it's his fault because he's being sued because he's the headliner. I guess it was his show, but he's not the one actually running it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not really sure it's going to be his fault. Now, as far as all the satanic stuff, that's a whole different story. But, you know, at a certain point, if you listen to his music, the stuff that was in the show was not anything beyond what you would hear on a Travis Scott album or a song. So if you go to a Travis Scott show, you already know what it is. Now, as far as the damages and stuff like that, it's very sad, but I don't believe that's his fault. I think it was more about the people that ran the show not having things properly set up. And as far as the stampede and stuff like that, that happens at shows. It doesn't matter if it's rap, rock, country, and sometimes it happens. When the crowd gets too amped up, it happens. But I'm going to do a little bit more reading into that. But again, I don't think it's his fault. I just think that it was a bad situation that, unfortunately, he was a headliner of. That's all. All right. Now, shout out to Apu again, who says, have the FBI arrested Ray Epps for inciting a Capitol riot? No, because he's a snitch. defund the FBI, federales, to challenge you to speak the truth. Happy birthday, U.S. Marine Corps, ABL dad and uncle Marines. Yeah, shout out to everybody that's a Marine. Also, shout out to all veterans of U.S. military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines. Thank you for your sacrifices. Happy Veterans Day tomorrow. Right on. Happy Veterans Day for you guys tomorrow coming up. Shout out to, let me see, Apple again, who says, ABL, are people expressing regret to you for Biden vote every day? Every day people, what I get now is people say that they voted for Trump and they wanted him to win in 2020, pardon me, and they felt like he got robbed. That's what I'm hearing more of. People that voted for Hillary Clinton or did not want Trump to win, wanted him to win last time. A lot of more conservative converts recently. Thank you to Shelly for your donation. I appreciate you. Thank you to Apple, who says, ABL, did you ever skip school, pull pranks, jokes? Nah, I skipped school like toward the end of school. But by that time, it was pretty much over. Like, by the time I got to 12th grade, it was like, all right, I'm pretty much done here. We're pretty much done. Like, in 12th grade, I had electives and stuff like that. I was pretty much chilling. So when it came time for lunch, I was driving and stuff. So I drive to the mall and, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I would go to my classes most of the time. But sometimes I had classes where the teacher would be chill, wouldn't take attendance or nothing. So you could just leave and go. But by that time, it was pretty much over. I was ready to go ahead and go to college and start working, really. Like, you know, and I was already working too. I already had a full-time job basically in high school. Where the random things are, I think that's your name, says the Gav man fell into a cauldron filled of blue magic or 3 flowers hair gel. Apple says, you see Mr. Obama's speech to UN climate conference comments? I did not see his speech. Now, what did Mr. BHO say at the climate conference? Some racist, sexist stuff like that. You know, did he say that carbon emission is fueling white supremacy or something silly like that? That's what they say nowadays. I saw this random stat on Twitter that obviously was not true that said 70% of U.S. adults or millennials feel depression or anxiety from climate change. It's like, really? For real? Like, what does that look like? Okay, it's dark outside and it's cold, so I'm kind of sad, therefore I'm depressed. Is that what that means? So cold and dark is climate change? I mean, cut it out. Thank you to Everett Schuster, who says, shout out to Uncle Tom movie. I wish it was on Hulu, Amazon, Netflix. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. 10 out of 10. Oh, yeah. Shout out to the Uncle Tom movie. You guys got to watch it 100%. Shout out to Sonny Fennel, who says, off topic, but please create this, that, and the third t-shirt. You're the only person I know who says that. Oh, is that right? Okay. I'll do it for you guys. Thank you to Emily for your donation. Thank you to Chevy, who says, not for Black Lives Matter. Thank you to Greatness81, who says, Senator Rick Scott proved to CNN that CRT is in Virginia curriculum on live TV. He explained that it's on the VA Department of Education website. Oh, yeah. You know, the thing about these CNN types, they'll try to say that critical race theory is only taught in law school. It's not really available everywhere else. That's just, you know, that's just plain semantics. It's everywhere. Thank you to Byron8899, who says, even if Kyle is acquitted, he would still be in trouble as long as the woke mob keeps harassing him regardless of evidence. Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely a thing for sure. Thank you to 666 King Drummer, who says, isn't it interesting how liberals all of a sudden care about state lines and borders? Exactly. Ain't that what I said? Like earlier I said, it's funny how these liberals talk about Kyle Rittenhouse crossing the state line. Well, all he did was go from one town to the next, a 15-minute or so drive. That's somehow wrong. But if you cross the border between Mexico and U.S. illegally from faraway lands like China and Mexico, China and Haiti, China and other parts of Asia, then that's not wrong, right? You could speak no English, straight Mandarin Chinese, come across the border with a bunch of, massage parlor workers illegally, and that's fine. They pick and choose what to be enraged about. And again, that comes from the media. The things the media does not make sense. But to them, it makes, like it doesn't make logical. There's no connection logically, because you would connect the whole state lines thing to the country lines thing, and you would say, hey, you would use basic logic, if then statements. If you're mad at the state lines, then why aren't you mad about the country lines? But they don't follow logic like that. They just cherry pick certain issues to be mad about, and they determine the level of anger they're going to have toward it for a particular goal at the end of it. It's so fake. This is why the mainstream media is dying a slow death, because a lot of people can't see that. And when they do see it, you got a red pill moment. They get to Steak Sauce 357 who says, I work on HVAC, so I get a bird's eye view. Luckily, not in San Francisco for a while. Crazy to look down from a roof and see kids at a playground and their entire chain link fences lined with people shooting up, defecating. Let's go, Kyle. Man, that's crazy. That's totally crazy. Thank you to Caius Posthumous Turnus, who says, ABL, I advise against inviting patriots to the Discord until you vetted through all of the radicals, commies, and former BLM members up in there. Yeah, I'm with you. Is there a problem in the Discord that we got to worry about? I'm not really in there too much. Thank you to Scotty Flintstone, who says, Joe will be 25th. It is a planned. Probably so. Probably so. Like, they're going to let him go out there with no papers to read, and he'll just fall flat, and then they'll be like, okay, we got to get him out of there. Probably right around midterm time. Greatness 81 says, I think the prosecutor was trying to create sound bites during his cross-examination. The prosecutor knows he lost the case. Yeah. Just throwing whatever out there to see what sticks, because the case is over with. It's a clear self-defense case. There's no more to really discuss. So all you have now is sound bites and stuff of that nature. Thank you to Bot K MIT, who says, the judge is like you with Ivan. You give him a chance, but at the end of the day, you have to lay down a law. Exactly. That's really it. Thank you to Angel, who says, great show, ABL. Thank you for that, man. Appreciate you, as always. Let me see. Thank you to A. Kennel. Hopefully I ain't butcher your name, boss, who says, love you, brother. Keep it coming. Will do. Thank you to Hollow Boy for Life 2002, who says, hopefully Ivan calls tonight and ABL can drop the mic on his head again. Let's go, Brandon and Fart Joe Biden. Aloha from Hawaii. Thank you for that. Thank you to Leo Mazzino, who says, from the opening arguments to the prosecutor's key, quote unquote, key witness, admitted to pointed gun at Kyle, can't for closing arguments. Thank you to Ian Kinney, who says, climate change is a new pandemic. Oh, yeah. Climate change and short staffing and stuff like that. Thank you to Lex Decimal, who says, saw another good YouTuber say Travis is known to get the crowd to rush the stage, amps up the crowd heavy. Supposedly this time dude played the whole show without stopping. Hope that's not true. Well, yeah, hopefully not. Thank you to Santo Bartez, who says, the people laughing at Rittenhouse, breaking down on the witness stand, reliving this fight for survival are the same ones that cry about being misgendered hypocrites. Exactly. They're also the same ones who talk about masculinity being so fragile and boys can cry and stop being so rough and tumble, all this and that and the third. But then the moment you want to show some emotion, then they want to say that you soft and you weak and you a coward, right? So it's like, which one is it? You want me to show my emotion or not? Okay. So it's whatever though. But that's they don't follow logic like that. It just compartmentalized, and they'll say something that's completely different than what they said in a different case when it's the same situation. Same thing happening, just different case. That's all. So a man crying with different cases, and they judge it differently depending upon who the person is. All right. But that's it for the supers for now. Let's get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. If Skype does not work properly, you know it's not my fault. Blame the white man for that, because I don't take responsibility for my actions. All right, just playing. Anyway, there's also a Skype email in the description box below. If you want to get in that way, that'd be good as well. And let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling and make sure all my stuff is good to go. We are good. So let's go. 480, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill, it's Chuck. What's going on, man?
Everything's good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Out here in Arizona, it's starting to cool down, so that's a good thing. On the Kyle Rittenhouse case, I have a little bit of an idea. What's that?
Go ahead. Keep going.
I was gonna say on the Kyle Rittenhouse. So I was thinking how they're gonna try to manipulate this into a riot, and the way that I believe that they're gonna do it is the jury. So when you look at the jury, they had to kick out a whole bunch of people already. Anybody who looks at this case is going to be biased because the facts are simple. If you actually look at the case, it's going to be self-defense. So anybody that's looking at it on kind of a skeptical view is, already kind of biased against Kyle Rittenhouse and that night in general. So what I think is going to happen, even though, the only people who are watching mostly are people on the right, everybody on the left kind of has already seen and already has this idea, and anybody watching mainstream media where they get their clips from, there's a few on the left who are watching and kind of still pushing that line that he killed, 3 black people. And it's like, oh my God. So you got a lot of people, confused about it, but the people who are looking are on the right, who understand this case is a open and shut case, right? But in the end, it's not a normal case because it's decided by the jury. So in the end, if the jury says guilty, what I think is going to happen is they're going to say guilty, and then everybody on the left is going to be like, of course it's guilty. But then the judge is going to step in because he's allowed to step in even after the case is shut. And the jury has decided and say, no, it's directed verdict, which he almost said today. If you watch back, he goes through, and when he's grilling the prosecutor, he actually is about to say, and he's like, well, I'm not going to say right now. And what were you going to say, Judge? And I believe he was going to throw out, oh, sorry, I was getting another call. I thought you had hung up. But yeah, I think he's going to be actually throwing out the case once the jury comes and steps in, and I believe that's what's going to cause the confusion. That's what's going to cause the riot, and it's not going to be just on one side this time, because on the other side, the right, everybody who's actually watching the case understands that this is open and closed, and that's what's going to be cause the argument. It's not going to be about Kyle Rittenhouse anymore. It's going to be about a jury and a judge. And that's law, and that's destroying America even more, and that's how you get to a riot, I believe. And what do you think about that?
I mean, that could happen. That very well could happen, but I'm not really sure that'll happen right now because we're not in election time right now. So maybe the budget isn't there, because if you notice, a lot of the times when you have these riots, it's right before an election, right during election season. That's usually the strategy. I mean, we see what's going on with Black Lives Matter. If you go to Black Lives Matter and you donate, it goes through ActBlue. It's openly political. So I feel like since it's not a political time and it's starting to get a little bit cooler, it probably won't be a riot right
2022, this was right after we took Virginia and almost took New Jersey. I mean, there's a lot of political stuff going on right now, regardless if they want to say it or not. They messed up by shutting down the year and turning everybody away from football, turning everybody away from everything, and focusing people on politics in 2020. They really fucked up because. Hold on, you can't curse. Sorry for my language. Sorry my language. I apologize. But yeah, they really messed up, in my opinion, and they got the right really worked up on actual government. You look at this guy. Out there in New Jersey, the trucker, I forget what, Durr, just a trucker, he spent $150, and because he had R next to his name, that's very scary for them, because that's not a main election, and people were voting like it was. So, you know what I mean? It's not a general election, but you had a turnout to where you have a guy spending $150 and winning the election. That's pretty bizarre, and not a general election, where everybody comes out. So, and everybody's looking at the political sphere. So 2022 is very dangerous for them, and they need people active now. And that goal of, getting Joe in and, distracting everybody, it's working on the left, but with what happened with Travis Scott yesterday or the other day, the number one trending thing was Satan scares, which was a term that they used back in the 1960s when the Jesus hippie revolution went around, and people, everybody got close to God. So, I mean, people are realizing the evil that's going on in the world right now, and it's not just the right. The left is starting to wake up, and independents have already shifted. You look at all the polls. This is very dangerous for them because they've definitely lost control. The only people watching CNN are the people who still want to hear about Trump and how bad he is. If they switch that narrative, not only did they lose everybody who doesn't want to hear about him anymore, or at least doesn't believe that Joe Biden's the most popular president in the world, they're going to lose the people who not only don't believe that, but hate Donald Trump and want to continue hearing about how bad he is. That's all they have left on their platform, and they need to continue to push that and make it stronger.
I got you.
And that's why they're doubling down on CRT and everything, in my opinion.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hope you have a good night, ABL.
All right, now take care.
You too.
All right, shout out to the caller. I mean, the riots, I don't think it's really going to be a threat at this moment. It could be. I mean, anything can happen, but I don't think it's really going to be the case right now because it's not a pending election. Now, 2022, that's a different story. If this was September 2022, that's a whole different ball game, and definitely September 2024. Oh, yeah. All right, let's go. 262, you know, line. Who am I speaking to?
This be Uncle Reggie there, ABL. How you been? Long time no talk.
Oh, it's been all good, man. What's going on?
You remember me?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Good times. Guess what? I live in Kenosha. I was there that night. I know what was happening. I know what was going on. I got a lot to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. So first off, I was about a mile away when all this stuff was going down. And I was outside, and I was alongside with Patriots in that situation. And it was really difficult to watch Kyle today on the TV set, because man, it's just a little kid. And my story is very similar to his because I lived in the apartment complex that he lived in a long time ago.
Okay.
Okay. Logistically speaking, he is about 100 yards from the state line. Every time he walked out his backyard and threw a rock, he's throwing a rock at Wisconsin.
Right there, right on the border.
Right across the railroad tracks, and the trains literally shook the cabinets, when they went by. It's a big freight train.
Right.
So, he was literally right on the state line, not just the city of Antioch. His backyard was the border of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when they say he crossed state lines, every time he left his house, he crossed the state line.
Right.
So, pretty much for the most part. And that could clear up a lot. I mean, I see a lot of this hype going on, and man, it's good to talk to you, my man. I tell you what, it's good to talk to you again.
Oh, definitely.
It's been about a couple of years. Remember what happened last time I talked to you?
It
wasn't that good. Yeah. So, we'll forget about that for now. But so what's the big deal with the with the case? I don't understand. It's like an open and shut case after Grosskreutz did his thing and said what he said. As far as I'm concerned.
Well, it should be open and shut, but people are making it political because they're saying that he went there to attack Black Lives Matter protesters and he's a racist person, all kind of stuff like that. I mean, it's the media crafting the narrative, and then regular people that don't know any better who want to believe the narrative, they're just eating it up. And then it's like playing a telephone game where you tell somebody something and then they tell somebody, and before you know it, the 18th person that heard the story is saying a whole different thing. I'm hearing stories like he crossed several state lines, had a bunch of guns in a cargo van, and he shot a bunch of black people. I'm hearing the most ridiculous stories because the media started the frenzy and they caused a snowball to roll downhill. So that's why there's so much attention toward the case, because of the media exclusively.
Yeah. Well, people don't want to. Well, first of all, they're saying, the first guy, JoJo, we call him JoJo. He's actually, I don't think he's not from Kenosha, but he'd been back and forth, kind of like Kyle. All these people were LARPers and they're from out of town, good and bad. As far as the good people and the people that were burning things down, they were all from across the state line or from Milwaukee or Minneapolis. there was actually a bus that was going from Seattle to the Washington D.C. Trump. It was a Trump rally they were going to protest protesters for the Trump rally. They got to about middle of Illinois, and they heard about this Jacob Blake thing, and they hooked a quick left. No pun intended. They hooked a quick left and drove about a half an hour north, and they were in Kenosha. I mean, that fast. They unloaded the van and unloaded the vans and trucks and buses, and started immediately protesting.
Right.
So there's that. And Kyle pretty much shut the protest down.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how it had to go down, but he pretty much shut it down. That was basically 3 bullets.
That's it.
But on another note, I mean, a lot of stuff was going on in the city that time. We basically had the city surrounded as far as the regular people that actually live in Kenosha. We had Democrats, we had Republicans, we had Trumplicans, we had Bernie-crats, and they're all like, we're all neighbors, and we all come out of our houses gunned up. Everybody, the whole block was on the same page for one time, and we got to meet and greet and show off our artilleries and stuff. And so it was actually how neighbors actually should be for just maybe a week. It was the way the world should be for our little block. And we were about maybe a half a mile to a mile from I was outside when it happened. I could hear the shots fired. And I said, oh, there goes another one. Oh, there goes another one. Oh, 3, 4 more shots. And it happened just like the video shows. You heard one little pop, and then you heard like 4 or 5 other pop, 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 in a quick succession, and then pop, 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 and then you didn't hear any ambulances or anything going that way or nothing. It was crazy. But usually when you'd hear certain things like noises, like sirens, and there was nothing. The police were told to stand down. They were told that they can't protect private property, just public property. So it basically gave them the green light to burn half the city down.
Right.
So the area that they burned down, ABL, it was mostly black and brown owned people. They're black and brown owned businesses that got burnt down. It was crazy.
Right. Exactly.
And the neighborhood that was in, all those people had lung damage, had to throw out all their furniture, and these were already not impoverished people, but working class people. And they had, you see everybody's clothing, or their furniture on the front lawn, all smoke damage. There years to come, they'll probably be trying to piece this together, and everybody's going to have, even little children who were in that neighborhood. If you've ever, there's a train that runs right through town. There's one side of the tracks, and there's the other side of the tracks. They were on the working class side of the tracks.
Right.
So their narrative is they're for the working class, and they're standing up for BLM, and I was in the neighborhood. I shot some videos on Facebook of the aftermath, and the place is still like that. Nobody's fixed it. They turned it into a regular SH hole.
It's crazy, man. But it's crazy to hear that, man. Pleasure. Yeah, but I got a few more calls I want to get on the line because the phone lines are blowing up. So
I know you're on a.
Yeah,
I know you got on a crunch for time, ABL.
Yeah, man.
You got my number, right?
I got you, man.
You got my number. Call me sometime after the show or some other time. We'll wrap a little bit.
Well, I got your number, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, much love to you. Hello to chat. I'm still not able to chat, but somebody blocked me. One of your mods got me.
Hey, man, email me your channel, like a link to your channel, whatever you use to log in. Just email me that link. I'll unblock you. We'll take care of it.
All right. Much love to you. Much love to your fans, and keep that ball rolling. You're doing great, man.
Thank you,
man.
Still
watch it. I can't comment though.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Love you. Bye.
All right. Shout out to my man. Yeah. This whole thing has just been really ginned up by the media. It's not even all of what they're trying to say, talking about white supremacists, all of that. What kind of white supremacist only shoots white people? And one of the dudes was a child abuser. All of them have been locked up before, violent, dangerous people. So it's like, what are we doing here? All right, let's go to 215 on the line. Uh-oh. Let's go to. All right, Tariq, what's going on?
Hey man, what's going on, man? So the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing is really a part of the culture war, man. To me, I look at it as a way to punish conservatives for any type of retaliation, any type of defense. You know, conservatives aren't allowed to defend themselves, and we saw that across the whole Trump administration, where liberals would sit there and invade Trump rallies or just invade any type of conservative protest and use violence. And if you look at the media is never on the conservative side. Anytime violence is administered on conservatives, there's no sympathy. It's almost like it serves you right, you racist. You know, and I believe who was it? Was it Congress? Was it Senator? One of those senators who got shot. I don't know if it was a congressman or senator. Do you remember that guy's name who got shot by a Bernie supporter?
Steve Scalise.
Steve Scalise, yes. There was not really much sympathy from the media. In fact, I can 100% guarantee you, had the roles been reversed, had that been a known Trump supporter shooting any type of liberal senator or congressman, the media would have intentionally spun it as Trump inciting violence against congressmen. But see, it's never the other way around. And this is something that conservatives have got to learn. Liberals always stick up for each other. You know, like I said, there's no Mitt Romney version of liberals where there's some intelligent liberal that's like, yo, wait a minute, we got to chill. We got to stop being violent. They don't say nothing. They sit there quiet. So even in this Kyle Rittenhouse situation, I swear to God, if Kyle Rittenhouse was a liberal and a bunch of Trump supporters was chasing him and Trump supporters died, they would have said serves them right, or chasing them and trying to attack them. That's what the narrative would have been. But because it was a liberal protest, this is why Kyle Rittenhouse is in this situation. It's to tell these conservatives or anyone who's just against liberalism that, you know, if you go against us, this is what's going to happen to you. And it's tragic, man. I hope the jury does the right thing, but I don't know, man. Like, I feel like liberals will post these juries pictures of their names and kind of punish them. And, you know, I just hope conservatives watch this and, you know, we got to build a stronger defense, you know, and, you know, our media has to get on point. And we got to stop these stupid internal fights. Like, it's just so frustrating when, you know, I'm looking at some people on the right, you know, like, for example, you know, the Meghan McCain's of the world, you know, just attacking Republicans for, like, their views on January 6th. You know, you got these stupid conservatives signing on with the liberals like Liz Cheney talking about January 6th. And this is why our movement looks weak, and this is why we can't come together with propaganda, because we got traitors in the right, and that's why I keep telling Republicans, liberals are going to live. Like, we can whine and complain about them, but as long as we got these traitors on the right, as long as we're electing these traitors on the right, nothing is going to change for us. So yeah, man. With the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, it's sad, man. But liberals don't care how old you are. You know, they did that Covington Catholic kid, smeared him without that video coming out. That kid's life would have been ruined, smeared him, his whole career. They didn't care how old he was. So, yeah, conservatives need to take note. And, you know, we need to be ruthless. You know, even you know, we may need to be one-sided and we need to be ruthless, but we can't bend over and start taking it. So yeah, man. And one last thing before I hang up, you know, it's going to be tragic. It's going to be a true tragedy. Let's say if Kyle Rittenhouse get on, and you see black people out there protesting, getting angry, because some already calling this racist, which is stupid to me, because it was white people that died. It wasn't black people, and I'm not saying we should cheer for this, but I don't understand how that's white supremacy when white people die. So if black people get on the streets, it shows that we are lapdogs of white liberals. We are their fighting force. When they call us to war, when it's time to attack, we're going to be out there attacking retardedly, talking about this is some injustice for some white supremacy. It's going to be the first time in history where you're going to see black people protesting on behalf of white people's death. And to me, it's going to be political in nature, is because they view white liberals as black. When these white liberals smack them up, censor them, take away their economic livelihood, smear them if they talk against them. But for some reason, that's not white supremacy. That's just normal. A lot of our people are scared, man. Straight up, they are scared of liberals. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to deal with them. They just want their money, and that's just cowardly. And that's all I gotta say, bro.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
I'll take care.
That was very well said. Because my whole thing is like, okay, you got this white guy that shot white guys. So how is that a white supremacist? Did anybody black get hurt at all in the whole situation? And then one of the white guys that got shot and killed was a child abuser and got locked up for it. So I'm just having a hard time figuring out like what's really going on here. I just don't really understand. I don't get it. You know, I just don't understand. It's really weird. It's super weird. But hey, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm not really. I'm just kind of confused. That's all. Just a little confused. Just trying to figure out what's going on. All right. So number to call 434-658-1220. 281. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 281. Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Anthony?
Yes, it is.
Hey, how you doing, Anthony?
I'm great.
Nick.
All righty.
I didn't know if I'd get on. I've been sitting here watching the show, so I wasn't paying attention. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good.
So I guess I watch the show a lot, but I guess I'm the one that should probably bring up the subject. I guess, right?
You said what now?
Or do I come up with the subject to talk about, or do you have?
Well, I have a list of things in the title and things that are going on.
Yeah.
But whatever's
okay,
on your mind.
I watch the show.
Yeah. So whatever's going on, just let me know.
Okay. Well, great show. I really like you've been watching for a few years. I guess the Rittenhouse case is pretty much the best thing to talk about. I heard you say earlier, you know, you asked how the prosecution could talk you into how someone could commit a crime like that, or how what he did, self-defense, could be a crime. I think you had said that earlier, correct?
I didn't quite hear you. What'd you say?
You had asked earlier, you know, the prosecution, how they could convince somebody that self-defense is a crime, how what he did is a crime.
Exactly.
And I was thinking, when you said that, you know, that's basically what they're doing right now. They're trying to convince the world that self-defense is a crime. You know, that's exactly what they're doing.
They're trying, but they're not really it's not really successful.
No. They definitely made a lot of mistakes. What I think is interesting is so many people. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say so many people, because I'm sure, as you know, it's called the silent majority, because it's the majority of Americans that think and feel the way you do and I do. But there's still a lot of people that don't, that are in the dark. And what confuses me is that a lot of people don't realize that this case is probably one of the most important cases in modern history, because it's not just about Rittenhouse. It's about basically deciding that if you're trying to defend yourself, if you have a gun pointed at you, is it going to be about, you know, protecting yourself or protecting your family, or is it going to be about politics? So I think that's something that is really, that people aren't seeing in this case right now. So I think it's going to be real interesting what the verdict is, because it's probably going to play a big role in how things kind of go on from here.
Oh, it definitely will. It's definitely going to be an issue here. But I think ultimately at the end of it, people will just see that this is very political, and that's what the whole thing was driven by from the very beginning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely political. I mean, you can tell by what they're doing and what they're saying. I think it'd be interesting what they would have said or what they would have done if Rittenhouse would have been any other race but Caucasian. I wonder how they would have handled the politics of it, the propaganda of it. You know,
Well,
if it would have even got any coverage at all.
See, his race is part of it, but it's also the political part of it. Like, if he like, I put it to you like this, the race isn't as important with the guys that were confronting Kyle Rittenhouse, because really the guy Gage, Grace Kurtz or whatever, he should be the one on the stand, not Kyle Rittenhouse. He should be the one that's charged because he approached Kyle Rittenhouse and threatened him with a gun. You should be the one that's on the stand. His race is not really important because he's on the right team, the quote unquote right team. But Kyle Rittenhouse is on the wrong team politically, and he's white, which makes it enough to go ahead and try and convict him on something he shouldn't be convicted for.
Well, yeah, you're totally right about that. I mean, it's interesting because I mean, everything is about propaganda with them. So it's almost like, you know, walking into a mental institution and trying to convince them that a circle shouldn't go in a black hole. You know, so like, it's no matter what we say, no matter if it's a fact, there's statistics, if it's just common sense, it's almost like you're never going to get through. You know, it's just they have their way of thinking. That's all. That's the only way it's going to go, and there's nothing anyone can say that's going to change it, which is scary. You know, it's sad, but it seems that you know, the mainstream media is like almost like the voice of God at this point to a lot of people on the left. And
yeah,
it sucks. I don't even think we should call it left and right anymore, because it's almost now just about constitutional rights versus, do you want to give up those rights, you know, to Marxism, basically.
Pretty much.
So, but I don't think a lot of people see that. You know, that they're just slowly taking away rights, and even asking the question, well, why? Why are they slowly taking away rights? You know, what's it all about? Why is it all about guns? And why is it all about free speech and this and that? It's, you know, you could almost put a checklist of things they're going down this checklist, and at the end of the checklist, it's like, you know, now you're mine. Now we own you. You know, you do what we say, or you get the boot.
Exactly. Right on.
But yeah. Anyway, I don't want to keep you on, but really like you. Good job on your channel. I really enjoy it, and I guess keep up the good work, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, you too. Thanks, Anthony.
All right. Shout out to my man for the call. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go to 561. You're the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, yes, sir. ABL, man. Thank you, man. I can hear you this time. Last time I was like, I was hearing all kinds of like feedback and stuff. But I just had a question, like, with all the like shadow bans, you know, like, you're one of my favorite like YouTubers, and the Black Conservative Perspective and the Conservative Twins, and I even like Salty Cracker and Liberal High Mind. I mean, with all like the shadow bans, is there anything that you can recommend, like other, you know, like YouTubers that I can get to? Like,
I don't understand your question. Like other platforms?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's BitChute. I have a BitChute account. That's always, every video I put up is on BitChute automatically, and there should be a link.
Okay.
There should be a link in every video I do for the BitChute account. So yeah, that's probably the best way if YouTube is kind of weird.
Right. I mean, but other like YouTubers besides like, you know, the ones I've mentioned.
But like, what do you like? I don't understand. Like, are you asking me for more people to watch? I don't understand the question.
Like shout outs for other people, you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like other, besides the Conservative Twins and, you know,
I mean, but
stuff like that.
I don't understand. So are you asking me to tell you other people to watch?
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. that's not really what I'm gonna do right here. I mean, nothing against you, but you know, I'm kind of doing my own thing. It's all good though. Yeah. But
You're
it's
my favorite, man.
I thank you, man. But it's plenty of guys you can find. You know, whoever you like, man, just watch them. That's what I say.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Man, you're the best. I love you, man.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
All right, dude. I love you, dude. You're the best, man. You're so intelligent and smart. I look forward to all your videos, dude. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Get some interesting calls. Shout out to all the callers. You guys are very interesting. I'll say that. All righty. 559, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. How you doing?
I'm well. About yourself?
Good. Just calling you from California, behind enemy lines. So anyway, I just had a few comments and wanted to kind of get across that with the whole Rittenhouse case, I haven't been following it too much, but a little loosely as I've been to and fro from work and everything, being busy. But it's kind of interesting how the prosecution was saying that, or trying to determine that, well, how did you feel like he was a threat if he wasn't pointing a gun at you? Well, I'm just curious, how are they able to determine that if, first of all, he came up from behind him with the crowd and was a part of the same crowd that pushed him to the ground, knocked him to the ground, and pulled out a gun, and at the same time he's on the ground in front of him with the gun supposedly pointing towards the ground. Well, I mean, can't he just say, well, the gun is, or can't you just determine that the gun is pointing at him since he's right in front of him with the gun on the ground? And second of all, how can you say that he's not a threat when he was a part of the same crowd that did indeed knock him to the ground? What's their determination of a threat in the first place is kind of like my question. And I also just think, it's just very sad seeing the state that he's in, because you mentioned PTSD, and it's very obvious that you can see the PTSD that he is going through. And I'm just curious if they have any sort of evaluation as far as psychological with Kyle, or even with the Antifa person who, was the shooter that got his arm blown off, if they evaluated him. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Because my point is that, if he does have PTSD, I mean, post-traumatic stress syndrome is brought on by a multitude of factors. And it's something I feel like can definitely be used in the case, because the fact that, he is seeing all these images that is giving him flashbacks in such a negative way, in my perspective, when you see things like that and it causes you great trauma, that's something that I think could be used as like, well, this has caused him great mental stress and harm. The fact that he had to defend his life from people who had intent to harm him, and then what was the intent of the crowd as a whole? I mean, they're just like singling out the one guy who got his arm blown off, but then they forget the rest of the crowd, that if he would have stayed there and not had gotten up and ran away, what would that crowd have done to him? They would have ripped him apart. They would have killed him right there. While he was laying on the ground, they would have beat him to death with skateboards. I mean,
it was clear because the crowd was surrounding them. There was a bunch of loudness going on. It was clear to see that they were all coming at him. Very clear to see. So for anybody to say anything else, I mean, doesn't make a lot of sense. And of course, you're going to have some PTSD from that kind of event, because that's traumatic. It really is for anybody to go through, especially, a young man like that. Very traumatic.
Absolutely. And, I also think that it's crazy of them to use the video game excuse when, I mean, I thought that was all settled, like back in the 1990s with like Doom and like Duke Nukem and all that, when they were trying to say that the video games were causing, kids and people to have like psychotic meltdowns and, go shoot up schools and malls and stuff like that, when, clearly, people play video games like that every single day and sometimes hours on end, and, you don't see them have like a sudden mental break or a sporadic urge to go, grab a firearm and just, shoot up the block. It's kind of like a failed argument to me in that sense.
Exactly.
And so,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Nah, go ahead. I was agreeing with you.
So anyway, I just, last thing is, I just was thinking, well, maybe, with the fact that he is, also a first, he's a lifeguard or EMT or what was he? He was a lifeguard, right? Or something like that?
I think so.
So the fact of him being a first responder and, my point is him, being in that parking lot and watching it and guarding it, everything else that day, that's, fine. But also I heard that he was going around and actually assisting in medical aid to people who needed it throughout the day, all the way up until the point prior of the shooting. And so it's interesting to me that, you hear like, oh, Kyle Rittenhouse, this crazy killer that, went and shot up a whole bunch of people in Kenosha and, killed 3 people during the riots and all that. But then when you do your research and there is like testimony out there of people saying, yeah, right, I actually had Kyle come up to me and like give me aid and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. That was, I mean, I got to cut you because I got more calls, but I mean, that was his whole thing. He was out there to deliver aid. He was not out there for any kind of problems. I mean, the prosecution, right, they don't really have anything. I think everybody knows that it's a pretty much open and shut self-defense case, but they're trying to paint him as some kind of rabble-rouser out there looking for trouble, when in reality, he was there just trying to help people, which is what he was doing until he became a target, and then he had to defend himself. But thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Shout out to the caller. I don't want anybody to think I'm being rude by cutting callers off, but it's just time is just not, we don't have infinite time. So that's all. It ain't nothing personal. So shout out to all the callers. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to, Skype caller, who am I speaking to?
This is Sapphire from your YouTube. I'm from Australia.
All righty, man. What's going on?
I just wanted to say, I wanted to ask some questions about American case law and stuff. You seem pretty switched on.
Before we start, hold on. Before we start, I'm not a lawyer, so I may not have all the answers, but I'll try my best.
Well, I just appreciate you being American because I'm an outsider and I'm just trying to get a handle on it.
Okay.
And people keep talking about, was the kid legally allowed to have the gun? And I think what I get from what other people are saying is that it's not a Second Amendment issue. It's the fact that he was defending himself. He could have used a rock, a knife, a gun, a fucking pool cue.
Hold on, we can't curse. Okay.
Sorry.
Right. But I get your point though. He could have defended himself. Like that's the thing. The instrument is not necessarily the problem. The issue is self-defense or not.
Indeed. That's the crux of the argument, isn't it? Whether he reasonably feared for his own life at the time. It doesn't matter if it was factually true or not. It's what he believed, and if other people in that circumstance would also reasonably come to that conclusion, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering that. So it's not a Second Amendment issue at all, or a case law issue. It's the fact that he was defending himself, and all these people are saying a legal weapon doesn't matter, right? That's a separate issue.
Yeah, that's separate. I mean, if they want to try to get him on a gun charge, if that's applicable here, which I'm not sure that it is, that's completely separate from the issue of self-defense, because there have been cases where guys, have been convicted felons who were not allowed to have guns at all because they were a convicted felon who who shot somebody and they did not get charged with a murder because it was self-defense. They may get a gun charge, maybe, but they wouldn't get charged for murder. That's two different things.
Yeah, I was asking people about that. It's like, as long as you're sure, if you've been convicted and you're not meant to have a weapon, having the weapon's a felony, right?
You said what now?
If you've been told you're not allowed to have a weapon because you've previously been convicted for something, and you do have the weapon, just in a general day-to-day sense, that's a felony, right?
I believe so. And I know the penalty is different from state to state. If you are like let's say, for example, if you're in Virginia and you have an illegal weapon, even if you've not been convicted, if you have the weapon illegally without your proper documentation, that's 5 years in the penitentiary right away. So state to state is different.
Yes, he can still go to prison for that. But the fact that that said felon used that while not committing a separate felon in a self-defense case means he could be justified to have that weapon at the time, right?
He'll be justified he'll be justified in a self-defense case. So prime example.
Yes.
Here's an example.
The use of it, not the obtaining of it.
Yeah, so let's say, for example, if somebody broke into a felon's home and they tried to attack him and the felon shot the home invader and killed him, he would not go to jail for murder or anything like that because that's justified. Now, if the gun was there,
but it would be the firearm issue.
The firearm would be a different issue, correct?
Yes. Okay. That's what I wanted to try and figure out. It's like, because I'm not from America, I don't know how all this works out, but from what the rest of the world's saying, everyone believes when Kyle was on his back, or even when he was jammed up amongst them cars, he turned around and threatened the guy. The guy slowed down, saw it, and kept fucking coming, right?
Well, come on, we can't be cussing now. Let's be easy.
Sorry. It's Australian. It's just,
I know
say that like a normal word. Right. I apologize.
I got you. 100%. I understand. But
thank you for calling me out. I'll attempt to rectify my verbiage.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I mean, he was on his back. He was being attacked. So it's really open and shut. I think the prosecution understand there's not really a case here. So they're trying to go for a mistrial, trying to do weird things in the court.
Well, I was wondering, does it seem like the prosecution's throwing the case? Because they're really doing what the DA tells them to do, right? Sure, that guy's a slime ball, whatever people call him, Brangan or Brani or something with BAs and N's and things or something in it. That lawyer guy, the prosecution guy, everyone hates him, but he's just a tool of the machine, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what's going on, and they know there's not much there because it's really self-defense. But they're trying to they're trying to do their job to represent the state and get him convicted. Yeah. But it's not going to happen. From what I'm seeing, it looks
like they're just trying to do it for the media. Really, it's not like they're actually trying to convict the guy for the state. They just want people to use the right words in social media so they can say, oh, well, he got off, it was self-defense, we did what we could. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, that could be part of it as well. There could be some political aspirations because some of these guys, they get a little bit of fame by being on television, and then they want to go on a book tour and stuff like that. So there could be some some selfish motivation here.
To me, it seems like the DA has been strong-armed into putting that fucking... Sorry. To me, it seems like the DA has been strong-armed to putting that freak on the case, right? And, the dude's sure he's not a nice guy. Sure, he's a slime ball, but it looks like they're trying to throw the case to me, really, because all the defense has to do is stand up and play the video in full and say, I have nothing further to add. Every time,
Right, exactly. Well, thank you for the call, man. Thank you for the call. I'm going to cut you off. Thank you for the call, man. I got a few more.
Thank you, Anthony. Yep, sorry about the swearing. Cheers, mate. Catch you later.
All right, now.
I'll have a beer for you.
All righty.
Cheers.
All right, shout out to my man from Australia. Shout out to my man, what they call that, Oz, the land down under. So shout out to the spiders the size of a whole Volkswagen Beetle. I couldn't do nothing about that, but let's get to the next call. All righty, my man, what's going on?
Hey, buddy, how you doing? Hang on, I got to turn you off. How you been?
Oh, it's all good, man. Can't complain about yourself.
Oh, not bad. We're just sitting around the office here today. I got a buddy in the office here with me, but we've been trying to catch ourselves up on the Rittenhouse case, and it's shocking that he's not been acquitted yet. Like after the prosecution went up there, we were kind of joking around, wondering, the defense just ends up and says, case rests, whatever he said, just points to the prosecution because that was the most ridiculous thing we've ever seen. How you been?
All been
Everything
good.
Going well?
Yeah, everything's going good, man. And you know what about Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah.
He should not actually be charged. It's open to shut. It's like if I'm at my home, for example, not saying it's the same thing, but let's just say some moron wants to try to call himself breaking and entering, right? Now, now, if I have my rifle, if I had a rifle, I don't have any more guns. I lost them in a tragic boating accident. But if I had a rifle and I happen to shoot him, I probably won't even go to court, let alone get charged and I'm going to jail. And I got to hire lawyers and bail money. This is purely a political case because of the Black Lives Matter stuff that was going on. If not for that, you wouldn't even know about it.
Oh, easily. And the guy that was shot was caught on camera yelling, "I'm going to kill you," and then mouthing off the N-word. But he's wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, and everybody around him just kind of is like, he's crazy. Oh, no, wait, he's on our side. Okay, never mind. And didn't care. I mean, this pedophile, right? He's a pedophile, right?
Correct. Yes.
6 times or something.
Yeah, and the pedophile, what he did, just to without being too graphic, he would try to get close to single moms with sons, and the rest.
That's why he wasn't allowed at the place right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, from my point of view, the fact that he's gone, he got deleted. That's okay with me. I think the world's a better place.
Tron. Anthony, man, you're killing me. Oh, dude. It's been too long to talk to you. Yeah, I mean, everybody's making that argument. Yes. Are we glad he's gone? I said, well, I can't really say that. Oh, he's a pedophile. Oh, well, okay, maybe that argument's okay. That's 2020 hindsight. Did Kyle know that at the time? No, of course not. Had he ever met him before? No, of course not. But what are you going to do when you're going around caught on camera trying to put out fires with a fire extinguisher, and people start chasing you, yelling, "I'm going to kill you," whatever, and then throwing stuff at you, and somebody fires a gun?
I mean, it's clear you're in danger. It's clear
I've ever seen.
It's open and shut. It's not even a question.
Yeah, but I think that's what's on trial right now is self-defense. Like you and I are going to look back in a couple of years and be like, I remember back in 2021 where we were when we saw Kyle Rittenhouse break down crying. That was the saving grace for self-defense here. Yeah. I mean, but the whole thing, you were saying I would never even go to trial for this. Well, man, you're forgetting, dude. This is CNN didn't cover you. CNN covered everybody else saying he's a white supremacist. Where in the history of anything has he ever been shown to be that? Where is the proof in that? Like Biden.
No proof ever.
Weighed in and said he's a white supremacist. I'm like, what? Wait, have you watched anything? The president goes against you. I mean, what hope do you have? And of course, then this prosecutor comes up and, yay, thank you, prosecution, for doing our defense job.
Right.
Yeah. It's not just this, though, man. There's so much stuff going on right now. You just kind of wonder have I been taking drugs or something? It's nuts. Listen, I'll let you go, man. I know you get a lot of calls. It's good talking to you. Hope, how's the new marriage going?
Oh, everything's going good, man. Can't complain.
That's good. That's good.
Right on.
Let us know, keep us updated on any news on that front.
I got you, man. Don't even worry about it. Y'all know whenever anything goes on. So for sure, man.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, same to you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
All righty. Let's get to some more here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go 713. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 713. Hello. Going once, going twice. Hopefully it's not my Skype acting up. Let's go to the next one. 916, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Yeah, that's my Skype acting up. Okay, let's restart. Okay, I told you, I mean, the white man got their foot on my neck. I'm just trying to not be oppressed by Skype. Restart Skype right quick. And the number to call is always in the description box below. If you're wondering, it's 434-658-1220. There's also an email to get on through video and on this regular Skype call. And that's in the description box below. Let me get to some more calls here. Let's go. All right. 790. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Okay. I guess I didn't pick up. Y'all bear with me. It's the white man trying to cause problems. 773, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Well, ABL, have you been able to watch the Kyle Rittenhouse trial today?
Yes, of course. We were talking about it earlier.
Okay. Okay. I do have one key to ask you is can the judge either arrest or put out some type of warrant for the prosecutor who was doing all this grandstanding and trying to intimidate Kyle Rittenhouse while he was under oath, and not doing the same thing for that Antifa member who vehemently lied under oath, which sealed the case?
Well, I don't think that can happen because he's a prosecution. That's his job. But if he's doing things that are improper to do in court, like what he got yelled at for by the judge, if he's doing things like that, what can happen is I think he could be held in contempt if it gets really bad, and or there could be a mistrial with prejudice, which means that it's, you can't charge him anymore, if I'm not mistaken. I think that'd pretty much be a wrap.
Double jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because it's not just him. If you saw earlier this week, George Floyd's nephew and a few other people threatening both the judge and the jury, which is going to result in mistrial. But I think the real question needs to be asked about can those people be arrested because of jury intimidation, which is the exact same thing they did during the Fennell Floyd trial, which caused those riots to begin in the first place.
Yeah. Now, as far as that, I've not seen that part, but if that's happening, if anybody's getting threatened on the witness, I mean, as far as the jurors or whatnot, then that could be some criminal action against them. I think people were trying to film the jury being picked up from a spot, so stuff like that can't be going on. And if they are found to be some kind of way threatening or intimidating, that could be a potential crime. I'm just not really sure what the crime would be specifically.
Pretty much obstruction of justice would be one of them. But this is pretty much a big theme with let's been doing for a long time, especially with BLM, and absolutely nobody wants to call them out on it, especially not the black community. But if you do want to find about the Floyd nephew making a threat to the entire jury, it's pretty much on the Gateway Pundit's website. Hey, and I think you can still find the video out there. But there's something I do want to ask everybody to kind of pay critically attention to have already noticed that the FBI has been spying on Kyle Rittenhouse also, and about this raid on Project Veritas, president's home, for this whole Ashley Biden diary. And disclaimer, not to gross out anybody, but the contents of the diary pretty much concludes what we've already know about Joe Biden being a pedophile, and all of his kids are pretty much messed up.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are messed up, but I think the diary pretty much proves what we, like you said, already proves what we know, that Joe Biden's a sick dude. And the fact that they were trying to say that, oh, this is not really This is not a real diary. It came from the Russians, all this and that. Now, that's not true. We know the diary is real. The same thing about the laptop.
Mhm.
We know laptop is real as well, but they said it came from Europe and like Eastern Europe and Russia and stuff like that. We know that it's all real. And the fact that you have two children that are like this, it proves that you got a serious problem with the parents, aka Joe Biden.
Yeah, yeah, but I do think the diary needs to be talked about by everybody before it becomes covered up, just like with Hillary Clinton's emails. And more importantly, Republicans need to kind of use this information as a ground for impeachment, because we can't have any type of person on world stage who's mentally unstable and is pretty much a grade A pedophile in the first place.
Right. I got you, man. Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you. All right. Shout out to my man for calling. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go to, all right. Let's try. Okay. 790. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, it's Roman from Russia again. Happy to be. I know everybody talking about Kyle Rittenhouse and the current trial, but I want to talk about some other topic, and I am talking about digital safety now, because the media is like a second line of the enemy of the people. The first line is an intelligence agency like ABI. And people nowadays forget that everything that they using in their phones, in their search, in Google and stuff like that, it will be in the memory forever. And it can be used against people anytime, at any moment. And if you look at some Republican members in the Congress or in the Senate, it's not necessarily they are like sold out for money. But this may be the case. Maybe they are also blackmailed, because at some point anyone can do something like bad, like I don't know, buy drugs, sell drugs if it's prohibited, or maybe someone cheated on their wife, or stuff like that. And this information, if it was on your phone and or in your mail or whatever, in any digital way possible. FBI might know it, and FBI may use it against you. And I think any parent who is listening right now, they need to teach children to be curious in using digital media, like protect the information, use independent media like DuckDuckGo and stuff like that. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Nice.
And also, I wanna urge everybody to buy Edward Snowden book or listen to his Joe Rogan podcast, because there is a lot of good information up there. Because he by brick explain how the government spying on everybody. And even if you think something happened to you and you think you maybe get away with it, you actually not. They're just waiting to use it against it. I know in 2022, many populist America First Republicans running in the Congress, and I want to say that you need to brace for many smear media attacks against them. If you remember, there was some noise in media against Matt Gaetz from Florida. He has some sex with underage or something like that. And this is their work. They can pick one little piece of information, which maybe compromise you or maybe not, but they make it so much bigger in the media. So it might be destroying your career or real life or whatever, but they can do anything to destroy you. So this is important to protect your information in digital world, and always remember it. That's why I urge everybody to listen to whatever Snowden said. And talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, I think he did nothing wrong. Actually, he might did something very good, like he shot dead a child molester. Like I think he might be granted a medal for that. But this is my opinion. I hope he got acquitted because he did nothing wrong. That's all that I can say. Thank you for having me. Always nice to hear you, and also I like to watch and listen to conservative twins like you, ABL, and they are my favorite ones.
Well, thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you for your support.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. Thank you, listeners. Goodbye.
All right. Shout out to my man calling all the way from Russia. All right. Got international. We had Australia. We got Russia. We had, I think we had, UK or somebody earlier? A lot of you guys from all over the place. So shout out to all you guys calling from all over the world. Let's get to a few more here. 909, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey there, ABL. This is Mark in California. How you doing this evening?
I'm well. About yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Watching your show, loving you as always. I wanted to ask you, I mean, I know Rittenhouse has probably played out. I don't know. I mean, that's a big thing. I think it's one of the most important trials in a very long time. And I was wondering, at this point, if he doesn't walk, what do you think that means for people like us that, used to have guns and lost them in tragic boating accidents?
Well, I think that it's not even really about a gun issue. I think it's more just about a political issue. So if you happen to use your weapon or do anything else and the politics aren't on your side, then you could be in some trouble depending upon where you live. I think
well, that's kind of exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be the thing. And I think what'll end up happening is you're going to have some of these things go to high courts. If it gets really ugly to where you have an open and shut case and it doesn't go the proper way, it's going to end up, you're going to end up having some higher courts intervene, in my humble opinion, because if it's so obvious like this, it can't go any other way than an acquittal. That's the way it has to go. And it shouldn't have even got to this point to begin with. So I think that's what's going to go on. It's going to be a problem. If this goes the wrong way, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of scared. That's the thing, is I don't see this as just some news story about a shooter. I see this one as the story that's going to the case that's going to make some major waves politically as a result of whether he walks or not. And I don't think it's going to look good for the Second Amendment if this clear-cut self-defense case that's caught on film from 1,000 angles and even admitted to by the star witnesses of the prosecution, if this still isn't enough to exonerate him, I don't know who will ever again be able to defend themselves with a gun.
Right. Yeah. And again, it goes to the political thing. That's the key, because I mean, if you defend yourself with a gun, then it probably won't make the news at all. It probably would be open and shut because it won't get to the national level, because most people, when you're dealing with just regular local courts and there's no federal involvement, no big media involvement, the White House not speaking on it, when it's just regular stuff like that, then you tend to have more reasonable outcomes to cases. But when you have the federales and the White House and politics and threats and money and all that stuff in the mix, things get weird.
True. That is a good point. All right, well, I'm going to let you get to other callers. That last caller took up a lot of time. I'm sorry to take up any. So you guys have a good night. Let's go, Brandon, all right?
All right, now let's go, Brandon. Thank you for the call. All right, good call. Yeah, this politics stuff is really crazy. It really, really is. All right, I want to speak to 757.
Yes, Mr. Logan, how you doing?
Well, about yourself?
I'm good. I'm Chesapeake Bob.
All right, man.
Well, I'd like to still say I'm sorry for your tragic boating accident.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. Had so many had so many guns fell into the water, but I'm glad I made it.
Yeah, I had that happen down on the Albemarle. So I'm actually calling you from outside of Boston because now I'm traveling again.
Okay.
But can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Okay, so last Thursday, I was the guy on B. Tatum's podcast who sent all the super chats to ask him to show you the cartoon of the day. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
that was a
Virginia flag.
the Virginia
the
flag.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah.
I thought it would give you a laugh.
Oh, I saw that. I put it on my Facebook right away. That was really good. Matter of fact, I think I still got it up here. But yeah, that was a great flag because that was right after the election in Virginia. Yep. So yeah, I really like that one. I put it on the screen right now. So you have if people don't know, they don't know what the flag is. Normally, where it says "Let's go, Brandon," it says "Sic semper tyrannis." Thus, I bring death to tyrants. That's what it normally says. And you have the king, whatever, with the crown off, and then the person that's defeating them. But they changed it to where you have "Let's go, Brandon," and the person that's defeated has CRT and the sickle and the hammer, and then the person over top of them has a red hat, and then the sign that says on 2022 and 2024. So that was a good Virginia flag rendition.
Yeah, and actually above that it said the state motto, which is "Virginia's for lovers," right?
Well, on this one, it doesn't have it on there, so I might be seeing the wrong one. But yeah,
if you looked at it on that day, it said "Virginia's for lovers ... of democracy."
Ah, okay.
So go ahead and check that out. It's good, and I might have upset B. Tatum about that. So I'm asking you if you could kind of smooth that over for me.
Oh no, it's all good. He'll be all right. You know, Tatum just kind of, but he's good.
Okay, but I do have a question for you.
All righty.
Do you think the Antifa people are being flown into Kenosha?
I'm not really sure. Maybe if they're not being flown in, they're probably just they're probably out there already locally, and or they'll drive themselves, and maybe they might fly or catch a bus or something. I've seen buses of these people just kind of like a clown car exploding with people all over the place. I've seen that happen on videotape. So I wouldn't put it past them to be bussed out there, but at the same time, I wouldn't put it past them to just drive their own personal cars to a particular place to start trouble.
Well, and the reason why I bring this up is because what if, just in case, Kyle gets acquitted? Are they there to, like, riot and demonstrate and burn down the town?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I think that they could, but like I was saying earlier, I think that this is an off year election-wise, so the budget may not be open for them, because if they're being bussed into a place that costs money, and the BLM budget that's available when you have a pending election. Now, if this was July of 2022 or definitely 2024, I'd probably say yeah, because the budget is wide open, because we see that Black Lives Matter has disappeared. They were all over the place. They raised billions of dollars in 2020, but they're totally gone right now because they're not needed. But once they're needed, they'll come back.
I think you're right. And I think, to be honest with you, who do you think's paying, if it happens, and I'm not saying it's going to, but if it does happen, who do you think's paying for that? Soros?
It could be anybody. I mean, Soros, that's an easy target, but people that are like him, a lot of these big money people, Bill Gates of the world, a lot of these, even people in politics right now, Nancy Pelosi, they got money. Barack Obama, they got money. They got these foundations and whatnot, and they have friends and connections, and they have money. Just like the guy that got locked up for killing people in his Hollywood apartment, Ed Buck, the Democrat donor, guys like that, monsters like that kill for fun. They'll also send money to destabilize certain areas.
Okay, I was just kind of curious if you thought maybe if, and I don't know, I hope justice prevails, but if Kyle gets maybe convicted on the lower offense and has to do a year in jail or whatever, if the city riots and all these people, I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting in a hotel in Boston or just outside of Boston, and I saw a guy walk outside my room, and he's all in black. I mean, he's dressed in black. He's got a black hoodie and black pants and black mask, and I'm like, that's Antifa right there.
It probably so. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
So I'm like, how did he get in? This was a pretty nice hotel, and how did he get here? So I'm just thinking, something going on.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I appreciate you taking my call, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm still the guy who made you an offer, and offer still stands.
Gotcha. Right on, man. Thank you for your call. Appreciate you.
Good night, sir.
All right. Shout out to my man, Chesapeake Bob, for sure. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go to 541. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Jeffrey ABL from Southern Oregon. Yeah, just calling. A couple of Saturdays ago, you were talking to somebody about a weapon that they wanted to first-time buyer, and then a few callers called in. And my question for you is, the only thing I might have missed was that it always has to be assumed loaded, right? No matter what you think.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I didn't really hear anybody say that, but maybe I missed it. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, yeah,
I mean,
definitely. Yeah, so that's a good piece of advice to somebody that is a first-time gun owner. Is like, it's always loaded. Just assume that it's always loaded, so you be safe. Better safe than sorry.
Oh, definitely. Accident can happen. And I know a couple people that have had accidents, and it's not, and they were, major gun owners. But anyway, and then you were talking about the BB guns, maybe starting out with that. And they have some awesome 177 pellet rifles, right? I think they banned them in the UK. They are like 22s, right? They're pretty badass, or pretty bad stuff. I'm sorry. But anyway, I appreciate you taking my call, and you have a really good topic tonight. I wish I could add more to it, but thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Okay, have a good one.
Yeah, it's a good point. With any gun, always assume it's loaded. Don't point it at anybody, and yeah, definitely. Even if it's not loaded, there's no magazine, the round is clear, the chamber is clear. Just make sure that it's assume that it is loaded, because you have that habit all the time, so you won't get caught slipping and having a mistake or some kind of tragic accident. Let's go to, all right, 785. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony. This is Colby from Central Kansas.
All righty. What's going on?
Hey, so I'll just jump right into it. So I was observing the Rittenhouse stream today on YouTube, and it just really it didn't really surprise me, but I was just really disappointed. I see all the leftists talking about Kyle Rittenhouse dropping the soap and wishing like rape on him in prison, and it just goes to show how big of hypocrites these people are.
Yeah, definitely, because like I was saying before, it's like they'll say certain things, like prime example, when he was crying, and then they'll make fun of him for crying and all this and that. But then at the same time, they talk about masculinity being so toxic, men can't show their emotions. They don't really have any standards. They just whatever makes sense to them at the time, they'll say that. It's stick to that. There's no standards with these people.
Right, exactly. And another thing, back to your YouTube comments that you were discussing earlier.
Uh-huh.
Are we getting to a point in this country where, well, maybe I'm crazy for thinking this, we need to restrict certain companies or certain businesses from having the ability to delete discussion like that? Or do you think, is that a right worth giving up in order to protect free speech?
I think that's a good question. I think it's kind of hard to do that, like, because let's say, for example, a company like you should be able to not have comments if you don't want to have it. But I think people should want the comments. People should actually advocate to have the comments, because if you don't, then how do you know what's really going on? You just pretty much allow the company to dictate the narrative. It's just like, for example, if you didn't have any reviews on a product on Amazon, the correct thing would be to not buy it. If the reviews and the ratings were disabled, why would you buy it? So it needs to be what we do with our own pockets and our own feet. Don't patronize it if it doesn't have what we need. If there's no transparency, don't patronize it.
Exactly. Growing up in my grade school, we would do, we had the internet when I was growing up. So we would like pick out an internet article. And one of my favorite things to do was to scroll down and see people arguing in the comments. You can't do that anymore. They're all gone.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep. That was really all I had. Love your show. Really young guy. I'm probably one of your younger fans. Just turned 24 a while back.
Right on,
but,
man.
Keep the good fight, man.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Good call. So let's go to. All right. 773, you're on the line. I'm speaker to.
ABL, this is your Chicago police officer friend. How you doing?
Well, about yourself?
I'm doing good, ABL. One thing I wanted to say is what people don't realize is that policing and the justice system is now people are being prosecuted by social committee. It really doesn't matter what the facts are a lot of times. They're just going to go through with what the majority of people, which is the left right now, they're in power, what they expect to have done to this guy, instead of saying, look at the video, look at the evidence, and we're not going to charge him because they're afraid what's going to happen. In the Chicago Police Department right now, one of our 2 days off are canceled until the end of this trial because Chicago is afraid, in its proximity to the trial, Chicago is afraid that there's going to be mass riotings if he isn't convicted on this case. So that's the way we're handling. That's the way we handle everything, by what might happen in the media and the people rioting and everything else.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be about what's fact, what's the reality, and discover guilt or innocence. It shouldn't be about just trying to do things to please the mob.
Right, to pacify the mob. But, we do things differently now. Back in the day, you would have never seen the police department or prosecutors have a press conference on all the facts of the case. And what I'm speaking of in particular was the Jussie Smollett case. Never would we have had a press conference where we laid everything out, all our evidence and everything else. So, his defense attorneys can get a jump on their defense. We would have never done that. But in today's day and age, we're afraid people are going to be, offended, and that they're going to riot if we don't spell everything out for them.
Right, exactly.
And also, I thought you were spot on with your video about the likes and dislikes. It's only a way for the left to be able to not show all the people that dislike their point of view. And that's what it's become. They accuse the right of being Nazis. They're everything that they accuse us of being, the conservatives of being, which is free speech. I was involved in a riot that happened in Chicago. Trump came before he was first elected. He came just to have a rally, to try to get elected. And They stopped all that. They stopped the traffic. They broke all the car windows at the venue, which was at the University of Illinois at Chicago campus, at Circle campus in Chicago. They broke all the windows. They stopped the traffic on the expressways, and they learned something also, which was they learned to break themselves up as a group, because it made it harder for us to handle 3 or 4 different locations. Even though they were near each other, we couldn't put up a front. And the one last thing about that incident, we were told by the higher-ups not to wear our riot helmets because it looked too aggressive. And then, of course, they threw bottles, and many police officers, their heads were bleeding from bottles being thrown at them. It's too aggressive for me to protect myself with my riot helmet? Are you kidding? But that's what's happening today, ABL.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then they wonder why they can't get cops to sign up. It's like you're creating an environment to where nobody really wants to do it.
Well, that's true. And as I was telling you before, I'm proud to be the police, but I'm of a different generation. The new generation, they're looked down at by their peers for wanting to be the police. They're looked down at it like that. So they sometimes, they've been at the system they're educated in, and they look down on, they pay attention to what their professors have said about the bad police. So really, the only people that are signing up to be the police are from police families, many of them, or from the military. Simple as that.
Right.
All right, ABL, always a great show, and I'll let you get to other callers and to your opinion. I look forward to it.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Shout out to my man from Chicago, the officer. Very, very good call. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Let's get, okay, hold on one second here. 215, hit on line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, how's it going?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
Good. Hold on a sec. Okay, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Hey, ABL. All right, so you don't hear no static or nothing, do you?
No, it's all good. As long as you have the stream off in the background, we'll be good to go.
All right, I turned it all the way down. So basically, what I saw from the Travis Scott concerts, basically what I talked to somebody about years ago. People idolize these celebrities way too much. I mean, just a guy singing on stage and everybody just, oh my God, it's Travis Scott. Because when I saw everybody bone rush, I'm like, what's the hype about? And then I was like, just to find out, it's just Travis Scott himself performing on stage is why everybody bone rush right there. It's like, what? And then a whole stampede is caused, and 8 people get trampled, killed. A lot of other people get injured. They want Travis Scott to stop the show, which he did, and now they're blaming him. All these rumors, oh, he's a satanic demon, he does rituals and all that other stuff. It's everybody's saying, all the videos I watched, oh, the vibes there was satanic. It was all, the devil was running the show and all that stuff. What's your thoughts on that, ABL?
Well, as far as Travis Scott and the whole satanic thing, I mean, that could be going on, but the thing is, I mean, if you go into a Travis Scott show, I mean, I'm sure you've heard his music before. You pretty much know what to expect. So that's not really going to be anything. All of a sudden, you just get shot with it. Oh, I'm at a Travis Scott show, and I don't know what his songs. I don't know lyrics. Any of it. You know where you're going. And I think the problem with the actual tragedy was the staffing. One of the bodyguards or the department, one of the security guards came out and said that there was not enough staffing. They were woefully understaffed, which has been the problem throughout the whole United States because of the whole scandemic and all the free money floating around. So I don't think it was really Travis Scott's fault. I think it was more about the organizers not planning things properly, the venue not having things done right. It was just not a very well thought out situation. And then on top of that, people that were there were bum rushing when they shouldn't have been bum rushing. So it was just a bad combination of factors that came together and made that whole thing happen. Unfortunately, it happened to be at a Travis Scott show.
Yeah, and then what happened was and it's like, that's basically what I heard too, that it was a completely understaffed and wasn't enough people that was running the show that was there to host the show anyway. And then just, it was all kind of problems. Like you said, lack of staff, that's another thing I heard.
And honestly, like I said, the people should take responsibility, even though most likely they probably won't. But the people are to blame for that too, because it's like y'all are to blame, not Travis Scott. Y'all heard the music. Y'all telling me y'all can't control yourselves. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. That's what it is. It's like y'all still human beings. You can't just not, act up like that. I mean, what are we doing?
Exactly. Y'all not children. Y'all grown adults. And I'm not saying that there's not a lot of mature. I'm not saying there weren't some mature ones who did the right thing, but a lot of them, man, are like, no, man. It's like y'all got to own up and take responsibility. Don't just blame Travis Scott because y'all wanted to act a fool and all that kind of stuff and don't want to obey the rules. And just because, okay, they say, oh, well, Travis Scott, he's the kind of person, he'll tell people to do this, he'll tell people to do that. Okay. Yeah, your parents never told you be a leader, not a follower. Like somebody tell you to do something, don't mean you got to do it. You shouldn't tell me you don't know right from wrong. But people nowadays, I feel like a lot of people look for any excuse to just act a fool.
Right, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like, and another, I watched the Kyle Rittenhouse thing when he just burst out and he just couldn't help but burst into tears. I shook my head. I was mostly disgusted because this is what. Like if you watch the video, first of all, oh no, that one video you did where the guy threatened the Kyle Rittenhouse jurors, and he said he was going to go down to people's houses, got the people's information, all that. First of all, he's a moron. He looks like a criminal. He just looked like a shady person anyway.
Yeah.
He just seemed like he just give off that vibes, the way he talk, the way he carry himself. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised he's a criminal. And then you put all that stuff. I hope he goes to jail because you dumb enough to put all that stuff on the internet. Oh, we got the judge's name, got the juror's name. I wouldn't be surprised if a week from now he's being brought up on charges. He should be. We know the jurors' names, we know the judges' names. Take him, lock him away. That's it.
Right.
Exactly, and that's all I really wanted to say. But thanks for answering my call, ABL.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, have a good one.
Same to you.
Yeah.
All right, shout out to my man for calling. Let's get to one or two more here. Let's go to, all right, 630. You're on line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, ABL?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's Tyrone, Mr. Conservative, and I just wanted to pretty much comment on the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing, because they are saying that, according to a few people I've been talking to, that they are planning to protest / riot or whatever you want to call it, if Kyle Rittenhouse get off. Now, the crazy thing about this whole entire situation there is, if you think about it, they just had a situation in Chicago, and you did a video on it, where a young boy was stabbed to death, and that was considered mutual combat. But this going on here with Kyle Rittenhouse doesn't fall underneath the same category, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, clearly it should, but all that leaves all the logic leaves the conversation once you bring the politics in it, and then that becomes the primary issue.
Yeah. Well, they're saying they're going to protest if he gets off. I just want to get your opinion about that. That's what they're saying. Yeah, it's just crazy, self-defense, mutual combat, but you literally see. Did you watch that whole entire video of the young boy being stabbed? Did you catch that video?
No,
I've not. The whole entire thing.
I've not seen that.
Oh, okay. So in Chicago, there was two young boys that were fighting. One had a knife in his hand. Every time he jabbed at him, he was pretty much stabbing him. And you clearly see, if you watch the whole entire video, after the young man falls down, he continued to stab him multiple times afterwards. But Chicago considered that as neutral combat, and they didn't press any charge. Well, they did press charges, but it was I guess it was unlawful use of a weapon, Class A, Class C misdemeanor. And then you have the shooting, 40-something shots ring out, and they call that neutral combat as well. So it's crazy. So I guess if you want to commit a crime, just come to Chicago, Illinois, and this Democrat city will just consider everything underneath neutral combat. I mean, crazy, right? They let criminals go out. I don't know. Just want to give you a heads up on that one and let you know that they are allegedly saying that if he gets off, they are going to protest. But you know how protest leads to other things, and I don't know how big it's going to be, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some kind of a pushback. But it's crazy. Their protest against obviously self-defense, because it was self-defense. They're going to riot, protest, but they won't come to Chicago when people are being killed, little kids are being shot on a day-to-day basis. We're talking about double digits in numbers, because I live in Democrat, Illinois, and I'm dealing with this, you know? And, yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild, man. But thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep. God bless.
Yeah, the whole thing is ludicrous, though. It's like, okay, you're going to so-called protest over what, though? Like, there's a clear case of self-defense. I mean, what else could he have done? Just get shot? And matter of fact, I have a meme that kind of sums this whole thing up. Let me see if I can find it. Hopefully I saved it. I think I did. And if I didn't, I'm going to find it right quick just for you guys, because this kind of encapsulates what's going on. Hold on one second. Let me go ahead and get to. So the prosecutor was, I guess he was doing a cross-examination on Kyle Rittenhouse. And you're talking about the point where the guy was trying to stomp him in the head, trying to stomp on him with his foot, and Kyle shot him. And the prosecutor, well, the ADA said this. Let me put it on the screen. And I guess the paraphrase it says, all it uses is 1 foot stomp on your head, correct? And you just shot him? He was only going to just use 1 foot to your AR-15. Is that equal force? It's like, look, if I'm on the ground and you get ready to stomp me to death, I can't just defend myself with my pistol. Pardon me, with my rifle. You see what I'm saying? It's like, come on. But again, they know there's no case there. So this is all they have. Open and shut, but it is what it is. 864, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Sam out of North Carolina.
All righty, man. What's going on?
I just want to call in and comment on a video you made about how they're trying to take, seems like they're trying to take all the Native Americans off of the pictures and symbols and whatnot. I just want to say I agree with you on that. Seems like they're just trying to erase us out of it. But I wanted to get your opinion on Biden talking about he's going to give reparations to these immigrants, and then turn around and saying they're going to cancel another pipeline, and he's adding all these taxes and doing all this spending. And to me, it seems like they're just trying to cripple the middle class. Because I ain't going to lie, ever since he's been in office, man, they've been killing in taxes. And it seems like everything's going up. The dollar ain't worth nothing. At the end of the day, it don't do nothing to kill the middle class. So it seems like that's their end goal.
Yeah, definitely. To kill the middle class and make them dependent upon the government. That's really what it is.
Exactly.
And if they're dependent, then they're compliant, because if the government provides you with everything, then you got to obey whatever they say. And this whole thing with the vax and trying to mandate it, that's the first step. That's the first way they're going to try to get you to comply. Well, one step of many to get you to comply. And then they're going to try to kill the economy, which is what they're doing through all this inflation, which is a tax that you pay. And it's like you pay it, but you don't pay it. Meaning if you get inflation and all of a sudden you got money stacked in the bank, but it's worth 10% less or whatever, you getting taxed involuntarily. So there's a tax that way. Then they're going to tax you more on top of that, and just tax, more control. And ultimately it's just to have a class system that's managed by the government.
I totally agree, because it seems like, that's the only thing you can really get out of this.
Right. Correct.
All right. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you. All right. A good call, but that will be a wrap for me tonight. The 3 hours just flew on by. So thank y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. I couldn't do it without you guys. If you enjoy what you heard tonight, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff for me. I'll be back live again on Saturday. I don't think Tam's doing his stream tomorrow, so I'll be back live again Saturday. But of course, I'm here throughout the week doing my pre-recorded videos Monday through Saturday. I try to get 2 out if I can, if there's topics. If you have any news tips, please email me at contact@anthonyblogan.com. That is contact at ANTHONY, the letter BLOGAN.com. Go to the website, anthonyblogan.com. Go to my merch site, ABLmerch.com. Go to patriotpost.us for all your news and information. And, of course, go to BHEdesigns.com for your beautiful handmade wooden American flags that are right behind me. Get ones just like that or one of your very own, but that'll be a wrap. I got super chats on deck. I'm going to read right quick, and then I'll wrap it on up, put the bow clean on top. So let's go back to where I was in the supers. And, of course, thank you to the mods for doing what you do. You guys are great. I appreciate y'all. Couldn't do it without y'all. And let me see. Let me go back. Okay, I think Leo Mazzina says, from the opening arguments to the prosecutor's key witness admitted to pointing the gun at Kyle, can't wait for closing arguments. Ian says, climate change is a new pandemic. I think it's Lexi Decimal who says, so another good YouTuber say Travis is known to get crowd rush the stage, amps up the crowd heavy. Supposedly this time dude played a whole show without stopping. Hope that's not true. I think I read that already. Santo Bartez says people laughing at Rittenhouse break it down on the witness stand or living this fight for survival are the same ones that cry about being misgendered. Thank you to Biden is not my president for the donation. Thank you to Ohio Gaming who says holla. Thank you to the Real Hydro PX who says it doesn't matter what side most X, Y, and Z's are on. They're always about this we thing. Thank you to Ben Grimerson who says billionaires own the mainstream media, 90% of the stock market, and will protect their corrupt system at all costs. Thank you to Ohio Gaming who says, sir. Butt versus Windshield says, today DeSantis said he's considering taking the illegals. The feds are sending to Florida and bust them up to Delaware. Hey, send them right to Joe Biden's crib, right in front of the door. That's what I want to see. Thank you to Cheryl Dumb for your donation. Thank you to Ohio Gaming who says, God bless America. Thank you to Farnar Faye who says, hey, ABL, sorry I'm late. Blame the white man. You see the cringy SNL clown skit? I swear I heard the word abortion at least 30 times in 2 minutes, shaking my head. Yeah, that was really cringy. Thank you to Leo Mazzino who said, did the guy who pointed the gun at Kyle have the gun legally? That's a good question. I'm not sure he did because I think he was a felon. So I'm not sure he had that gun legally. Thank you to M. Darrowset for the Hunger Hippo donation. Thank you to Ohio Gaming who says, love your channel. Let's spread your message. Respect. Thank you to Michael Guest who says, let's go Brandon. Hashtag FJB, US. Butt versus Wins, thank you for your donation. The snapping emoji. Farnar Face says, just saw on Breitbart where Columbia U states that wrong pronouns could mean expulsion, but it is not fireable. If you don't accept you, I won't either, fool. Thank you to Bob. Okay, MIT who said, thanks for taking my call. No problem. Thank you to Michael Guest who says, Salty Army, Lincoln, Nebraska's in the house. Hashtag FJB. Thank you to Tyrone Mr. Conservative who says, my sources tell me that Antifa, he called in just now. My sources tell me that Antifa is planning to protest riot if Kyle Rittenhouse gets off, but they won't come out. To the murder in Chicago is considered mutual combat. Exactly. The anti-view says COVID can be shed for up to 37 days. Positive people can test positive for 90 days. Tell me how 10 days for quarantine before the flight is safe. It's not. None of it makes any sense. And also the anti-view says, look up the study from Merck and Company, pharmaceutical company, cough. They funded a study that says the virus sheds for 37 days or up to that long. Well, I think we all know all of what's going on right now with the virus makes no sense. They just do stuff arbitrarily and randomly. We all know that at this point in time. But I think that will be a wrap for me. So you guys have been great. But until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.